श्रीवाग्भवकूटजातचतुर्वेदस्वरूपिणीं शृङ्गारकामराजोद्भव सकलविश्वव्यापिनीं देवीं शक्तिबीजोद्भव मातृका न शरीरिणीं देवनुत भवरोगहर वैद्यपति हृदय विहारिणीम्. ராமானுஜதயாபாத்திரம் ஞானவைராக்யபூஷணம் ஸ்ரீமத்வேங்கடநாதார்யம் வந்தே வேதாந்ததேசிகம் லக்ஷ்மீநாதசமாரம்பாம் நாதயாமுனமத்தியமாம் அஸ்மதாச்சாரியபர்யந்தாம் வந்தே குருபரம்பராம் யோ நித்யமச்சுதபதாம்புஜயுக்மருக்ம व्यामोहतस्तदितराणि तृणाय मेने अस्मद्गुरोर्भगवतोऽस्य दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये. माता पिता युवतयस्तनया विभूतिः सर्वं यदेव नियमेन मदन्वयानाम् आद्यस्य नः कुलपतेर्वकुलाभिरामं श्रीमत्तदङ्घ्रियुगलं प्रणमामि मूर्धना. भूतं सरश्च महदाह्वयभट्टनाथ श्रीभक्तिसारकुलशेखरयोगिवाहान् भक्ताङ्घ्रिरेणुपरकालयतीन्द्रमिश्रान् श्रीमत्पराङ्कुशमुनिं प्रणतोऽस्मि नित्यम्. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्. व्यासं वसिष्ठनप्तारं शक्तेः पौत्रम् अकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे शुकतातं तपोनिधिं. व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः. अचतुर्वदनोर्ब्रह्मा द्विबाहुरपरो हरिः अफाललोचनः शम्भुः भगवान् बादरायणः. पाराशर्यवचःसुधां सुमनसः दुग्धाब्धिमध्योद्धृतां संसाराग्निविदीपनव्यपगतप्राणात्मसञ्जीवनीं पूर्वाचार्यसुरक्षितां बहुमतिं व्याघातदूरस्थिताम् आनीतां तु निजाक्षरैः सुमनसः भौमाः पिबन्त्वन्वहम्. निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखातमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवत रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिकाः भुवि भावुकाः. योगीन्द्राणां त्वदङ्गेष्वधिकसुमधुरं मुक्तिभाजां निवासो भक्तानां कामवशद्युतरुकिसलयं नाथ ते पादमूलं. नित्यं चित्तस्थितं मे पवनपुरपते कृष्णा कारुण्य सिंधो. कृष्णा कारुण्य सिंधो कृत्वा निःशेषतापान् प्रदिशतु परमानन्द सन्दोहलक्ष्मी. प्रदिशतु परमानन्द सन्दोहलक्ष्मी. अज्ञात्वा ते Mahatvam Yadiha Nigaditam Vishwanatha Kshametha Stotram Chaitat Sahastrottaram Adhikataram Tvat Prasadaya Bhuyat Vedha Narayaneeyam Shrutishu Cha Janusha Stutyata Varnanena Sphitam Leelavatarei Ridamita Kurutam Ayurarogya Saukhyam Ayurarogya Saukhyam Janaki Kantasmaranam Gopika Jeevanasmaranam Namasadase Namasabhayai. With the blessings of Shriyapati, we have gathered in this very, very sacred premises of Sri Hariom Mandir, facilitated by the Mandir authorities, arranged wonderfully by Sri Annamalai, managed so well by a big, big goshti of volunteers, and everything under the leadership and guidance of Guru Sri Padmanabha Sharma Ji and his entire set of Astikas, Vaidikas. We have reached the 6th day of the 7-day series. This is the penultimate session. The last session will be in the morning. So if you're planning to come, we'll be seeing each other in less than 12 hours. So you all have to be ready. I am very happy to see you all. So tomorrow we will be concluding the Parayanam series, Pravachanam series with Shri Rukmini Parinayam. Kalyanam. Kalyanam is Parinayam, Vivaham. They are all Pariyaya Vachaka Shabdam. Technically, those of you who follow Shrimad Bhagavatam, in the Parayanam style, whatever is being recited through the day, the recitation had Rukmini Kalyanam yesterday. It is over. Rukmini is, well, they are married and settled. But in Pravachanam, we have the habit of doing a Control X and Control V. We cut and paste Rukmini Kalyanam to the end, because anything Bharatiya, anything Indian-like has to end on a good note. So we always want the end, Shubham, happy, Vanakkam, all that towards the end. So Rukmini Kalyanam will come towards the end. We'll also feature a charitram called Santana Gopalam tomorrow. Besides that, there will be Kuchelopakyanam, Muchukunda Stuti, Satyabhama Parinayam, Usha Parinayam, many marriages. The Indian marriage today is a separate industry, and Bhagavatam is the root cause. Plenty of marriages will come across. They were not destination wedding those, so they were all held in their very own places. So today we will be experiencing Sri Krishna Avataram. In Krishna Avataram, when we witnessed Bhagavan's birth, Tamadbhutam Balakam, we said that he is born in a Muhurta called Jayanti Muhurta. And that coincides when the asterism, when the nakshatra is Rohini. For Chandra, while mentioning Daksha Yajnam, I did talk about the moon, who has the stars as his Dharma Patni. But it is believed in our Puranas that he is extremely attached to Rohini. All other nakshatras, Swati, Anusha, which is Anuradha, then the Shrona is Shravanam. All these nakshatras, they will never get their chance to go out. It is only Rohini and Chandra who will be featured on page 4. Page 3, sorry. So page 3 they'll be featured. Rohini got upset with Chandra. So she said, though you seem to show public affection towards me. In the limelight, you always say, I love Rohini. But you keep producing the pearls, mukta phalanam, all the pearls, when you come in association with Swati Nakshatra. It is a belief in the Bharatiya literature that pearls come out of the oyster shells on the night of Swati Nakshatra. When it is Swati, that day has Swati Nakshatram, pearls are born. This is our belief. See, literature will come with lot of beliefs. They will be very beautiful for the literary value. You don't have to take that in reality. For example, in Shrimad Ramayanam, we come across a crow that physically assaulted Sita and thereby one of its eyes was taken. From then on, we believe that crows possess only one eye. This is called Kakakshi Golaka Nyayam. If you ask what is the proof to it, biologically it has both eyes. But if you ask what is the proof to those people who compose poems and stories, they'll say the crow will never look like this way or that way. So wherever it looks, the eye will keep shifting, it seems. It's called Kakakshi Golaka Nyayam. But this is a belief. Similarly, it's a belief that pearls are born in the water bodies on the day of Swati. So Rohini got upset. You are producing pearls with Swati, nothing with me. That is when Chandra said, I promise on one unique night, I shall produce a sapphire which is second to none. It is a nulli secundus. That is Krishna. That is why Krishna is likened to the sapphire. Indra Neelam it is called. Indra Neela Mani Sanni Papa Ghana Chandra Surya Nayana Prameya Vagindra Janaka Sakalesha Shubhra Nagendra Shayana Shamana Vairi Sannuta Jagadananda Karaka Indra Neela Mani. He is the sapphire. Vedanta Deshika says, Adharahida Charuvamshanala Makutalambi Mayura Pinchamala Haririla Shila Vibhanganila Pratibhasantu Mamantimaf Prayane. He is like the sapphire. Annamacharya says, Kalingunita Lala Paina Gappina Pushyaragamu Eleti Shri Venkatadri Indraneelam. So when Swati in association with Chandra produced the pearls, it was Chandra who promised Rohini that with you I will produce a blue sapphire who will be second to none. Swati sapatni kilatarakanam mukta phalanam jananiti roshat sa Rohini neelamasuta ratnam Kritaspadam Gropa Vadhu Kucheshu. After Sri Krishna Jananam, Bhagavan was shifted from Mathura or Madhura. Both are right. From place A to place B, which is Gokulam. The moment he reached Gokulam, the parents there, Nandagopa and Yashoda, thought that this is their son. Meanwhile, their daughter is Durga. Durgam Devi Gum Sharanamaham Prapadye Sutarasi Tarase Namaha, says Durga Suktam. So this Durga gave the information, and from then on all these elements came to annihilate Krishna, but they themselves got destroyed in that process. Now, there is a Tatkratu Nyayam. I spoke about Tatkratu Nyayam while dealing with Jada Bharata Charitram on day 2, if you remember. That if you remember, you have to underline. If you remember. So in case you remember by any chance, that day I spoke about Tatkratu Nyayam. Tatkratu Nyayam is, as per Brahma Vidyas, there is a Vidya called Upasana or Aradhana. That is called Bhakti Yogam. Bhakti Yoga states that if the manas, the mind, is thinking of something or somebody at that moment when the Atma is about to depart, it shall become that. That is how we have Jada Bharata Charitram, where he was Bharata, the son of Rishabhanatha. While doing tapasya, he spotted the little one of a doe, and then he nurtured, and while he was thinking about it, his Atma departed, so he became the deer. So for example, we listen to a narration, much verbose and even entertaining, where we see Krishna seated on the lap of Putana and he is consuming the milk that she is giving. So Putana is feeding Krishna. Imagine somebody speaking about this. And at that moment you have that scene in front of you. It is painted like a canvas in front of you. So Krishna is drinking milk from Putana. That moment the Jivatma leaves from the body. It departs. As you are listening, as it is being painted, your Jivatma departs. Your mind is focused on Krishna drinking milk from Putana. Person B drinking milk from person A. So as per this Tatkratonyayam, if applied, it should be when your Atma is departing, you're seeing somebody, thinking of somebody drinking milk, you too should be reborn and drinking milk from someone. But this is an exception to the general rule, it seems. In case you listen to Krishna drinking milk from Putana and at that moment the Atma departs, you will never be born again to drink milk from another woman. Stanyam pibhatvam na punar babhuva is what the shlokam says. So there is an exception to the general rule. So as we spoke about that, then we saw about Shakatasura Bhanjanam. Then he has to be given the name Krishna. Initially, Gargacharya, the Acharya of that particular family, they had to do the Namakaranam for the boy. So they took him to the cowshed and said, this boy shall be called Vasudeva. Nandagopa was very weak in Sanskritam. He's like us. So he didn't realize that Vasudeva means Vasudevasya Puman Vasudevaha. The son of Vasudeva is Vasudeva. He said Vasudeva is a good name. But Gargacharya knew internally that he is Vasudeva because he is Vasudeva's son. That is when they said, give us a short name. Vasudeva is a big name. That is when the name was given. Krishi dhatu nakarabhyam sattanandatmatah kilam pibhat jagadakarshitattvam va kathayadrishihi krishna namate vyatanotu. Krishi dhatu nakarabhyam. The one whose name, when taken with sincerity, can burn away the sins that we have accumulated is called Krishna. So Krishna technically means the one who can wash away and burn our sins. Incidentally, it also means the one who's dark-hued. See, he was not called Krishna because he was dark-hued. It happened so, because there will be so many Krishnas who are fair-skinned. What to do? So it's a coincidence that he is dark. But all our heroes and heroines in Ramayana and Mahabharatam are dark-skinned. Rama is dark. Krishna is dark. Draupadi is dark. Vyasacharya is dark. In fact, Samudrika Lakshana Shastram has a recommendation. It says in one shloka, if you're fair-skinned, don't buy gold. There's one shloka. Only if you're dark, you have to sport gold, it seems. So that is the... Why so much importance attached to black hue? Because we believe that when farmers look to the clouds and wait for the rains, they are never ever happy with white clouds. They will keep waiting for the dark ones because they are the rain-bearing clouds. Like the rain-bearing clouds that possess water that is ready for precipitation, like the water stored in the clouds that make them dark, so is Bhagavan who possesses mercy in him which makes him dark. Krishna Megha Janitam Jani Tapaharam, says Shastram. So he was given the name Krishna. Then he started walking, and then there is Navanita Chauryam. Then we had, the moment these Gopas noticed that there have been some evil nimittas in Gokulam, they feel that there is some harm towards Krishna and they are ready to shift their residences to another place. That is where they shift to a place called Vrindavanam. From Gokulam, they shift to Vrindavanam. So as they reach Vrindavanam, Krishna we discussed about Ulukha Bandhanam, where Ulukhalam is that mortar. He was tied to the mortar. Then we had Vana Bhojanam. If you remember yesterday, all of these boys went and had a nice excursion, picnic. And towards the end of it, we had Brahma, who did stuti of Bhagavan. Now comes the next Sambhavam. The next Sambhavam has a history. There was a rishi called Saubhari. Tvatsevakotkaha Saubharirnama purvam kalindhyantadvadvishabdam tapasyan meenavrate snehavan bhogalole tarshyam sakshat aikshataagre kadachit. He had the ability to sit in the deep waters, meditate, and then come out. While he was meditating one day, he opened his eyes suddenly and saw one father fish with the mother fish with the little ones playing. That fish and family were very happy. So they were watching some series, second season Squid Game. So while they were all very happy, Saubhari thought, why should I spend my time doing tapas? All the time I am engaged in tapas. I too should have family. So he went out. He got to know that the ruling monarch of those times was Mandhata. He went and told Mandhata, I believe you have many daughters. Are you looking for good alliance? Yes, Swami, we have posted that on matrimony.com. Do you have anyone? He said, I am that one. So for which girl? For all the girls. So he married all the 50. Saubhari married 50. Tasmin kale kali yakshvela darpat. See, whenever I tell this Sambhavam, narration, at the end of it, the youngsters will come and ask, that's wrong. How can he marry 50? I said, that is wrong. Did he ask us? He has married. Why should we break our head about this? So, kalpitam bhagnamashnan tena krodhat. So at that point in time, before going to Mandhata while he was seated in the waters, he suddenly saw a splash because one snake came and fell into these waters. He could converse with snakes with like parcel tongue. He could speak with them. That snake said, my name is Kali. I used to live in a different place, but I have been chased by Garuda. He asked, why have you been chased? Why did Garuda chase you? See, there is a difference in prasadam for us. Remember this. Garuda has many forms. One, in Krishna Avataram, in Rama Avataram, he will come in real. In Yuddha Kandam, he comes and releases Rama and Lakshmana of the real snakes. In Krishna Avataram, Bhagavan sits on Garuda along with Satyabhama and reaches Pragjyotisha Puram. This is Garuda, the real Garuda. But today, in these days, in Agama-based temples, we have Garuda who is fixed right in front of Bhagavan's Sannidhi. That is called Sannidhi Garuda. Sannidhi Garuda will have the prasadam that we offer as per Agamas. If we offer curd rice, he will have curd rice. If you offer chapati, that Garuda will have chapati. Whereas real Garuda will not eat chapati. He will eat snakes. Okay, don't get confused. Why? Because many of them always have this feeling that Sanatana Dharma is only for vegetarians. It is 100% Sattvic vegan religion, Swami. No. It advocates vegetarianism. There is a difference. There are certain yagas where certain portions of the pashus are offered, animals are offered, and that is taken as prasadam, as a bit, like Vajapayam, Somayagam, and so on and so forth. So, when we understand Sanatana Dharma from a broader perspective, we should not make it like a hotel, 100% vegetarian. In case we want to progress spiritually, in our lives, at that point in time, we will have to adhere to as simple a food as possible. Ahara shuddhau sattva shuddhihi. Chandogya Upanishad says, Ahara shuddhau sattva shuddhihi, sattva shuddhau dhruva smritihi. If you want good remembrance without any hindrance, make your food simple. So that is what Shastram says. Anybody, whichever varna you belong to, make your food simple. Ahara shuddhau sattva shuddhihi. Highest form of food is you should have only one meal a day. Ayurveda Shastram says, one meal a day you should have. Then only you are called a yogi. Twice you have bhogi. You enjoy food. Twice. 3 times rogi. You are called a person with diseases. 3 meals and all. If you have 4th meal, it never gave an option. Straight ICU. So, once a day. Because what? Because the lesser food you have, your concentration is higher. See, we always believe that if it is 8 o'clock, we should have. But Shastram says only if you are hungry, you should have. We make it, oh, it is 10, I have to have my breakfast. 1 o'clock, your body may not require that food. We are just stuffing. Then you will become, first day I had to check if this can bear my weight. This is what will happen. So, ahara shuddhau sattva shuddhihi. Have your food as little as possible, less number of meals. Whatever food you have, offer it to Bhagavan. This is simple lifestyle. Second, if you want to understand the highest standards of what to have and what not to have, for that also rishis have written what vegetables to avoid. Onion, garlic, radish, turnip, drumstick, bottle gourd, rich gourd, carrot, beetroot, cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli, bok choy, eggplant, green you have to avoid. Then, so there are 21 vegetables. Whatever is left, you can consume. Okay, whatever is left in that universe, you can consume. Next, there is one rule for rice. For example, that rice should not be seen by the dog. It should not be licked by the cat. There will be many animal lovers here. Don't feel hurt. Oh, you're against dogs? No. Dogs are great. They are next to Parabrahman. But now, the point is, there are rules. Water which is stored in a container for more than 24 hours should not be consumed. Exception is Ganga Jalam. Night you should not consume curd. Nattamna bhunjita. So there are various rules. If you want to follow, this is how rishis used to live. So the life of a rishi was not easy. And amidst that you will have Ekadashi Vratam. 36 to 40 hours you should not drink even one drop. So this is how we used to follow. But on the other hand, we had Rajas, Kshatriyas who used to consume the flesh of 5 animals. Pancha Panchanakaha Bhakshya, porcupine, iguana, hare, tortoise and rhino. These are the 5 animals allowed. So this is how we had, this statement comes in Kishkindha Kandam of Ramayanam. Because Vali puts a question, he fights his own case to Rama. He says, you have shot arrow at me. If at all you say that you have hunted me because I'm an animal, I don't fall in that category of permitted 5 animals that can be consumed. Then why did you shoot an arrow at me? He asks, Pancha Panchanakaha Bhakshya. He raises one legal point there as per 93F. Article 93, he poses there. So, we need to understand that Sanatana Dharma has a larger perspective. It is not a vegetarians only religion. There are smaller temples where meat is also offered to some devatas. There are such temples. But if we want to progress spiritually, Vedam says, try to keep your food simple. Don't complicate your food. This is what Vedam says. So understand from that perspective. Because when I say Garuda had snakes, immediately people, Garuda had snakes. Garuda will have only snakes. What else will he have? Will he have paneer, butter, masala? What will Garuda have? Garuda will eat only snakes. So these snakes were kept for Garuda. Kaliya consumed those snakes. See, in the reptiles category and animals category, they will eat swajati vishayam. Please understand that. Even the female dog, when it gives birth to puppies, it is said that it will eat some of them. If you go check, this is there. Now, similarly, the snake can consume other snakes. So, Kaliya ate Garuda's portion. Garuda got angry. He said, how dare you eat my portions? And he started chasing Kaliya. That Kaliya fell into the waters of the lake where Saubhari was performing penance. So that Kaliya communicated, Rishi, dekho, this Garuda is chasing me. That is when Saubhari said, without inquiring, he said, you have sought asylum in me, Kaliya, fikar mat karo. I now hereby curse Garuda. If at all he comes to this lake, he will die. So this Kaliya was very happily stationed in this lake. To ensure that humans don't use these waters, he started giving away the poison into that lake, thereby polluting the waters. Like how we do pollute natural bodies today, he was us then. Tasmin kale kaliya kshvela darpad sarparate kalpitam bhagnamashnan tena krodat padam bhoja bhaja pakshakshiptastuddirapam payogat. So people did not want to approach this lake. This lake. Now you remember, every time you listen to Bhagavatam, the Pravachanakarta will tell you that Kaliya lived in the Yamuna waters. Correct? There is a problem here. If Yamuna is construed as a river is flowing. Even if that gets polluted, with the flow of the waters, that the pollutants quality should come down, the contamination should come down, and it should be consumable. Then how do we say that? Because though it is Yamuna, it is not the waters of the Yamuna river. The waters of the Yamuna river were in the lake. How do we understand this? In geography, there is a process called meandering of the river. A river will not take point A to point B straight line. It will always meander. It will go like this. In certain cases, when it meanders at a larger angle, and there are certain shifts in the tectonic plates, that meandered portion of the river will detach itself from the main course and become a lake. It is called the Oxbow Lake. So when Yamuna meandered, one of the meandered portions must have become a lake bearing the Yamuna waters, and in that lake, Kaliya must have lived. So in this, on one particular day, Krishna left his house with his other friends towards this lake. Vinayvara mena vibhukkadachit, says Vedanta Deshika. Ekada tu vinaramam Krishno vrindavanam yayau, says Parashar Maharishi in Vishnu Purana. Yayau ramamrite rajan, says Shuka in Srimad Bhagavatam. Tasmin kale ekada tvai sirapanim muktva, says Bhattadri, Narayaneeyam. All four great acharyas have said that particular day, Krishna left his house without his brother Balarama. All of them agree. Why? Because he is going to bring down the arrogance and the audacity of a snake. Balarama is believed to be the Aveshya avatar of Adisesha. If he sees a member of his own community being danced upon, he will feel bad. எங்க சாதிக்காரனை சொல்லிட்டார் சார், எங்களால தாங்க முடியாது, நாங்க உடனே வள்ளுவர் கோட்டம் போயிடுவோம் சார், எங்க சாதி அப்படி சொல்லிட்டார் சார். So this Sadi problem should not come. So that is why he said, you better stay at home and watch something, I will take care. So he left to that lake with his friends. While his friends and Krishna were playing Kandukam. Kandukam is ball. The ball incidentally fell into the waters. Now Krishna had to go towards the lake and fetch that ball. He needed a vyajam. You know what is vyajam? Reason. Karanam is reason. Iska karan kya hai? That is reason. What is vyajam? Excuse. Very good. It is exactly very close to excuse, but not exactly excuse. But not reason. How do we understand? I will give you one example for this. In Shrimad Ramayanam, Rama was asked to go on an exile for 14 years. Nava panchacha varshani. Nava pancha, 9 plus 5 is 14 years. While he told this to Sita, Sita said, I will also accompany you. Rama said, Nai, you stay back in Ayodhya, enjoy these comforts. Why will you come with me to the forest, Sita? Sita said, see, I have all my mothers-in-law here. It is a wise option to come with you rather than stay with them. All of them are suffering from good health and they are living. Not one, all of them. So it is better I come with you. So she accompanied Rama along with Lakshmana. Lakshmana said, Aham sarvam karishyami jagrataha swapataschete. I will mop, I will sweep, I will cook, I will wash your vessels. Sita said, don't leave this man. Everybody wants one Lakshmana in their house, right? So they all left. While they left Ayodhya, Kaikeyi asked Rama to go through the metal detector. No ornaments he should wear. So he discarded all his ornaments except Sita. Mami ukuroda varale, ring. Ring. That quang, that sound came. Why? Because that ring had the facsimile of Janaka jewelers. It was made by the father-in-law. So Kaikeyi had no jurisdiction over that. So that ring was presented. So she could not stop. So this ring was very close to the heart of Sita. Because whatever he had, he relinquished. Whatever her father gave, he has. So they went to the forest. And this Aitihyam, anecdote, comes in Sundara Kandam. Because Sita is awaiting a message from Rama. That is when Hanuman comes. Hanuman gives that ring. She accepts that ring. Grihitva prekshamanasa bhartukkara vibhushanam bhartaram iva samprapta janaki mudita bhavat, says Valmiki. She was so happy, Sita, delighted to see the ring. How much? Even if Rama was physically present, she would have been happier to see the ring more than Rama, it seems. She liked Rama's ring more than Rama. Why? For that, the commentator Kaushika Govindaraja gives this Aitihyam that in the forest while Rama and Sita were seated in the Parnakashala, the hermitage, by the banks of river Godavari in the state of Maharashtra, Sita and Rama were playing the game of dice. Pashyantishu shrutishu paritaha suribrundenna sardham madhye kritya triguna phalakam nirmitaha sthana bhedam vishwadisha pranayini sada vibhrama dyuta vrittau brahmeshadya dadhati yuvayor akshasarav pracharam. Akshasaram is playing with the dice. That day it happened so that Sita was about to win the game and Rama couldn't take that. He's Ajata Shatru, right? So he did something, some movement in the board in such a way that Sita will say, no, aap aise nahi kar sakte ho. By the time she got up, her tilakam got erased because it was a normal act. Sita was a very sentimental person. She said, aap aise nahi kar sakte ho Ram, ye kya harkat hai? So she stopped talking to Rama for 3 days. Rama said, for such small things you are making it a big issue, Sita. I will also not talk. Now this tiff between the husband and wife was not known to poor Lakshmana because he is working through the day. He has to cook, he has to do the dishes, he has to cut the vegetables, think about the menu for the next meal. Meanwhile, these people started using him as a messenger. Kabutar, ja, ja, ja. So Lakshmana was wondering, why are these people like this? He didn't want to interfere. Generally, you should never interfere in the husband and wife's fight because tomorrow they will get together and they will rally against you. So he said, let these people do whatever they want, and he continued his work. After 2 days, Rama couldn't stand his state where he was not talking to Sita. It's a beautiful dampati. But he needed a vyajam to talk to her. So what he did was he slowly took this ring and slided that into the sands of Godavari, covered it and said, my ring is lost. Whoever is here can help me out. Who was there? Only Sita. Sita was worried. It is my father's hard-earned money. This man has lost. So she spotted that ring and said, Rama, see, is this the ring? Oh, Sita, where did you find this ring? And they started speaking. So to talk to each other, they needed a vyajam. That is that word. For vyajam, I had to... So now, let's come back to Krishna Avataram. Krishna needed a vyajam to do Kaliya Garva Khandanam. So he brought all his friends to play the game of Kandukam near the banks. When the ball fell, that's all. The vyajam was accomplished. So he had to take a plunge into the waters of the lake. Like the swimming pad, one of the trees that was bending towards itself to the lake waters, he stood on it. But being a lake with polluted waters, it did not let the flora around it flourish. So the meadows around it were not green. The leaves in the trees were absent. The leaves look like now, how are these trees looking? Autumn trees. Similarly, those trees looked, but the reason was not autumn. It was in fact because of the pollutants, the leaves never had such leaves coming out. Trees never had leaves coming out. Krishna stood on one of the branches and he took a plunge. But the greatness is, it is not about his plunge. He stood on the branch, right, and took a plunge. there is a shlokam. Madhudravair ulbana harsha bashpa romanchita kai kesara jalakena patrankurais chitra tanuschakashe Krishna shrutaha shushka kadamba shakaha. When Krishna took a plunge into the waters, that branch that was bereft of leaves for years together saw one small leaf coming out. With either Bhagavat Sambandham or Bhagavan Nama Sambandham, miracles can happen. See, in Srimad Ramayanam, Jatayu, who was the bird who tried protecting Sita from Ravana, had an elder brother, Sampati. So, Tadvatat Karnanodyat Garu Duru Java Sampati Vakya, says Bhattadri. So, there was a elder brother to Jatayu called Sampati, but Sampati couldn't fly because at one point in time, to protect his younger brother Jatayu from the scorching rays of the sun, he extended his wings and protected the brother. The brother got protected, but in the due process, Sampati ended up losing his wings. So he fell at one place in Dakshina Bharatam called Mahendragiri Parvatam, which is today called Tirukkurungudi. T stands for Tirukkurungudi in the company TVS. Tirukkurungudi, Vengarai, Sundaramayangar and Sons. So Tirukkurungudi is that place. So this Jatayu, Sampati fell there. It is in this place that in the sojourn of searching Sita from Bellari district of Karnataka, Hanuman and the other monkeys with Jambavanta had gathered. While they were expressing their anguish about their inability to spot Sita, that is when they made a flail reference to the word Jatayu. So the Sampati peeped out and asked, who spoke about my dear brother Jatayu? That is when they said, what all happened to Jatayu? Then Sampati started crying, oh, it is so sad to know that my brother is no more. Why did he die? That is when these monkeys tried to explain that he died out for Rama Kainkaryam. In the act of serving Rama, he died. Tell me about Rama. That is when Hanuman takes the pleasure. Saguna Brahma Parat Pararam Kalatmaka Parameshwara Ram Seshatalpa Sukha Nidruta Ram Brahmadyamara Prathita Ram Chanda Kirana Kula Mandana Ram. It's very easy. At the end you have to just say Ram. Shrimad Dasharatha Nandana Kausalya Sukhavardhana Vishwamitra Priyadhana Ghora Tataka Ghataka Marichadrini Pataka Kaushikamaka Samrakshaka Srimadahalyodharaka Gautama Muni Sampujita Sura Muni Varagana Samstuta Navika Dhavita Mrudupada Mithila Purajana Mohaka Videha Manasa Ranjaka Triambaka Karmuka Bhanjaka Sitarpita Varamalika Kritavaivahika Kautuka Bhargava Darpa Vinashaka Srimad Ayodhya Palaka Rama Rama Jaya Raja Ram Rama Rama Jaya Sita Ram Rama Rama Jaya Raja Ram. Hanuman had the pleasure of delineating Rama's qualities in Ramanama. That particular Sampati who never saw the hope in his life of his wings germinating back to its position, saw them slowly coming out. So with Ramanamam, Sampati who had lost the hope of having his wings back, saw the wings come. In Krishnavataram with Krishna's Sharira Sambandham, that tree that was bereft of leaves because of the pollutants given by Kaliya in the nearby lake of Yamuna waters, saw that leaf come back. So with Bhagavan and Bhagavan Nama, there are certain things which is humanly, medically impossible to be solved. Vaidyo Narayano Harihi. Any good medical practitioner, you go to any good doctor, meritorious doctor, you give your reports to them. They will see, they will advise you medicines. Now if you ask, doctor, after taking these medicines, will I be rid of it? You know, an intelligent doctor will say, let's see. Nobody will give it to you in black and white. It will go away, else I am ready to forego my career. Nobody will say. Because good doctors know that there are certain things that is beyond their control. That is when Bhagavan comes into picture. Certain ailments that you think that can never be solved will be solved by Bhagavan's grace. So a judicious Bharatiya will trust in the current medicine and will love Bhagavan's grace. You need a combination of both. Here, Krishna jumped into the waters. Now these boys started telling, Krishna is no more. They went and told Yashoda. Yashoda came running with her hair open. She said, I've lost my child. There was absolutely no scope for Krishna coming out. No movement. Suddenly there were bubbles. This incident, as delineated, described in Shrimad Bhagavatam, was reimagined by a poet called Narayana Bhattadri. Narayana Bhattadri lived 450 years back in the state of Kerala. He was, after reading Bhagavatam, when he had to summarize these in shlokas, he wondered, how could a little boy fight the might of a snake? It was natural, right? When he closed his eyes, he could listen to the bubbles. When he opened, he could see in a nearby lake of Guruvayur in Kerala, Krishna reenacting that episode so that he cherishes and relishes as he perceives in his naked eyes and is able to put forth them as verses. As he saw, so he wrote. Athavarini ghorataram paninam prativarayitum krutadhir bhagavan drutamaritati ragani patarum vishamaruta shoshita parnachayam bhuvanatraya bharabruto bhavato guru bharavikam pivijrumbhijala parimajjayati smadhanushatakam tatini jhatiti sphuta ghoshavati adhiru yatata paniraja panan nanrite bhavata mridupadarucha kalashinjitanu puramanjumilat karakankana sankula sankwanitam. This ragam that I sang is called Punagavarali. It is believed that reptiles have a great association with the vibrations associated with this ragam. It is called Punagavarali. Kanakashaila Viharini. This is Punagavarali. Another great prolific devotee and poet called Venkatakavi of a little hamlet called Uttukadu, who lived 350 years back. While he reimagined this episode, in his mind Krishna danced. So he gives a rhythmic composition. Tamitatajam tagatajam tagadikatajam tam tamitatajam tagatajam tagadikatajam tam Neela Manohara Jala Vibhushana Niratisha Nandan Nirajatataka Adiga Mrudula Pada Nikatatarango Tungatatanka Nartaka Nartakatam Tatom Tatai Tigirjaga Nandam Yamuna Tataka Tunga Tarangam Himapataswanamaramita Shubangam Hitas Tatas Karuna Pangam. So the way he gives is the way he dances. So it comes in a rhythm. Now when Krishna emerged from the waters, holding the tail of the snake and dancing on its hoods, Parvati and Shiva had a conversation. See, in most of these arranged marriages, if at all it is arranged, if the girl is auditor, they will mention, the boy should also be an auditor. If the girl is a doctor, she will say, I want a doctor. Today they give specifications. He should be an endocrinologist with a 2-step course from UK. He should have served in whether they are recruiting the boy or whether they are marrying, we don't know. So everybody wants somebody from the same profession. Shiva is known to be the greatest dancer. When Shiva dances, you should see people, in the interviews they will ask me, sir, of the various sculptures you've seen in Hinduism, which is that sculpture which has captured your eyes the most? For me, it is Nataraja. Because when you see Nataraja dance, he did not do it as a photo shoot. See, in most of these dance performances, the dancer will be like, then the photographer will say, "Koncha ipdi, hold it like this, now smile, yeah, don't show your left profile, right profile," all this. Shiva did not dance like that. As he danced, if you're continuously kicking your camera, tuck, 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 one of the poses was this. He didn't pose for the camera. One of those captures was this, with one hand like this, with the other hand like this. When you look at those bronzes, you will see how intricate the finger movement has to be. The way the leg has to bend. Even if you're a dancer, that too a classically trained dancer, they will have a very good idea of how to pose for photos. Photogenic. They will know how to stand. If you don't learn dance like me, the photographer, we'll all stand like for national anthem. Then the photographer will say, "Smile." Then we'll have to stand, we'll stand like for national anthem. Whereas Shiva, when he stands, he'll stand in Tribhangam, greatest dancer. He married Parvati Devi. She is equally a great dancer. So both of them danced in Himalayas. But in Himalayas, when you dance, you have to sport all these jerkin and the thermals. She said, "Ye kya hai Shivaji? It is very cold here. We should go to a place that never has winter." So then they chose Tamil Nadu. There are only 3 seasons: summer, summerer, summerist. So then they reached a place called Chidambaram, which has tillai trees. So you don't have to worry about sporting all these Kavachakundalam. So they came to Chidambaram. There a beautiful Sabha was erected for them to dance by Vishwakarma. It is called Kanaka Sabha. "Madama Madurayil Velliyambalam Kondan Madikku Nellayile Tamira Sabhai Kandan Idila Kutralam Chittira Sabhai Kondan Edila Langada Tannil Rattina Sabhai Kandan Adavallan Yammai Alavallan Oru Idu Illan Yengum என்றுமுள்ளான் இடது பதம் தூக்கி ஆடும் காலை தூக்கி நின்றாடும் தெய்வமே ஆனந்த நடன பிரகாசம் சித்சபேஷம்." You should visit those temples. What grandeur. So when Shiva dances, the world will look. Parvati and Shiva were dancing. One day Parvati said, "Rukiye, stop." Shiva said, "Why should I stop? We were thinking we are the best of dancers. Even now we are, Parvati. Don't you know, Paru? We are the best of dancers." She said, "No, my brother is the greatest dancer." "How come? That boy who keeps stuffing butter, how will he dance?" "See," she said, "when we dance, we alone dance. The stage doesn't dance. When he dances on Kaliya, my brother, he dances while the stage also dances. It is a challenge for a dancer to dance on a dancing stage. He has done the unbelievable and undoable. So he is greter than us." "Adalai kanatillai ambalathiraivanum tan ஆடலை விட்டு இங்கே கோகுலம் வந்தான் ஒரு ஆடலினால் சிறு யாதவனே ஒரு மாமணி இரகணி மாதவனே நீ ஆடாது அசங்காது வா." So as Krishna danced, what happened? Kaliya developed migraine. "How much you are dancing on me? What should I do?" Krishna said, "See, this is the place where humans live. You should not stay here. You're polluting the waters. You go to some other island." Now, buying islands is the trend. Making it a country is the new trend. So you go there. Kitne log jate hain? You live there with Anandam, which is Nityam. So go there. "Namastubhyam Bhagavate." No, this is what Krishna said. "Namastubhyam Bhagavate Purushaya Mahatmane Bhutavasaya Bhutaya Paraya Paramatmane." So Krishna, he commanded that the snake should leave that place, and he restored normalcy to the waters. Purification of Yamuna began then. आप कर सकते हो ना, आप कीजिए. भूतवासाय भूताय पराय परमात्मने नमः कृष्णाय रामाय वसुदेवसुताय च प्रद्युम्नाय अनिरुद्धाय सात्वतां पतये नमः. So as this happened, came another incident. See, Andal, like how we have Mira in Uttara Bharatam for Krishna Bhakti. More to giridhar gopal dusro na koi प्यारे दर्शन दीजो तुम बिन रहो न जाए जल बिन कमल चंद बिन रजनी ऐसे तुम देखो बिन सजनी आकुल व्याकुल फिरूं रैन दिन. Every bhajan of Mira. पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो, पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो. वस्तुव मौलित दी मेरे सतगुरु कृपा कर अपनायो. पायो जी मैंने राम रतन. हरि गुण गावत नाचूंगी, प्रभु गुण गावत नाचूंगी. इच्छा कर राखो जी, ओ मणे इच्छा कर राखो जी. हरि तुम हरो जन की पीर. नंद नंदन दिस पड़िया मैया. Every bhajan of Mira filled with Krishna Bhakti. So this is what we see in Mira's bhajan. She is Mira in the north. We had an equivalent in the south called Andal. Andal too expressed Krishna Bhakti. In one of the Pasurams, she tells, when I was telling this in the US, they said Andal wrote Tirupavai in the US. I didn't know that. I asked how. Yelle ilankiliye innum murangtiyo yelle. So while expressing Krishna Bhakti, she says yelle. So people of California were happy. But when she talks of Krishna Bhakti and mentions of Yelle, it is in Yelle we had the forest fires. In Krishna Avataram, 2 thrice in Shrimad Bhagavatam, there are forest fires. So while there was forest fires, Krishna Krishna Mahabhaga He Ramamita Vikrama Yesha Ghoratamo Vanhinhi Tavakan Grasate Hinaha. It was burning. That is when they all, see, Gopikas and Gopas Purushas, they had one thing in common. They believed in Krishna, which we don't have. Imagine a little boy like Krishna coming and telling, don't worry, I will take care. You. What will you do with the fires? They had bhakti. They said, Krishna, you do whatever you want. Krishna said, close your eyes. Closed. He swallowed the fire. Now you may ask, that's absolutely untenable. How can a human possibly consume fire? That is Krishna. See, if you can't understand this, then it's a waste to listen to Bhagavatam, because he's beyond the realm of human understanding. Whereas Rama positioned himself as a normal human being. If his wife is lost, he will cry. He will make coalition with the Vanaras of Kishkindha, seek permission, three full pages application he will write for the Green Tribunal to construct Setu between Bharata Desham. He will do everything humanly. But when he did everything humanly, controlling his paramatmic qualities, people will start questioning him. Whenever a person is humble, that person will be ridiculed. How did Rama manage to kill Vali? Vali and Hasugriva had a fight. It was a brotherly tussle. Why should he do interference? There people ask, why did Rama have to test the chastity of Sita? That hurts me. Why did Rama send pregnant Sita to the forest? Why did he do this? Why? Then Bhagavan thought, if I act very humanly, they question me. I will do every magic. Let them question. Nobody questions Krishna. Because he did, what will he do? That's all. The Sudarshana Chakram is still rotating there. So, in Krishna Avataram, Krishna swallowed that fire. Sir, is that possible? See, I see in many of these pubs, they'll put some liquid. That fire will come, right? Here he takes that fire in. That's all. Whenever I see that, I remember this forest fire. Mukhamapi dahano. Vallabhacharya gives a reason why he consumed that fire. Because in Dhyana Shloka to Sahasranamam, we have this Bhupadau. To him, the earth is his feet. Yasya nabhihi. Viyada Sura Anilaha. Sura Anilaha. The fire, air is his ears. Chandra Surya Ucha Netre. The eyes are the sun and the moon. Karna Vashaha. The ears are the directions. Karnava Shirodhyauhu. The sky that you see above is his head. Shirodhyauhu. Mukhamapi Dahano. The fire that we all see and use is his mouth. So the fire is his mouth. So people did not understand, it seems. Krishna, what is this Mukhamapi Dahano? To practically show them what it is, Krishna swallowed that fire. This is Mukhamapi Dahano. In my mouth is the fire. See, as per Ayurveda Shastra, we believe that the 5 elements, Panchabhutas, are within us. That is why when you go to an Ayurvedic doctor, first he will test your pulse and say whether your body is Vayu prone, Agni prone. He will check that first. He'll say, oh, your body is too much of Ushnam. That is why even in the local Bharatiya languages, if someone is jealous, they'll say, Vaite Richal. Yeriyar this, sir. It is full. Even in that Eno advertisement. Have you seen? They will keep fire in that stomach. So he knows, he has read Ayurveda Shastra. So, you know, in English they say, that fire should be there in your belly. They say that, right? That belly fire only, Jatharagni. So here, 200 years English stayed in India, right? So they read all these Shastras. I keep telling them, a lot of influence of Shastram. Because Jnanam comes from Hayagriva, correct? Hayagriva has the face of a horse, correct? So in English they say, let the truth come from the horse's mouth. They are all Hayagriva Upasakas. Now, Kalakuta Bhakshanena Jata Garvasya Mahadevasya Garva Nivaranartham. There are various reasons given. So fire was found in Bhagavan's. He consumed that fire. Then, as these incidents happen, there is this Viprapatni Sambhavam. It's a very intricate Sambhavam. I'm sure the Astikas of Frankfurt are very well read. They will be able to appreciate and understand. Now, this Viprapatni Sambhavam is when Krishna took his friends to the forest and these boys told Krishna that we are all hungry, Krishna. It was 11 a.m. in the morning. They said, Krishna, we are very hungry. Krishna said, don't worry, there is a close by Agraharam. There is a close by habitat where the Brahmanas live. You go tell them that Krishna has commanded you to give food. So these boys go, trusting in Krishna, they go knock at the doors of the Brahmanas. The Brahmanas were performing Angirasam. So Prayata Deva Yajanam Brahmana Brahmavadinaha Satram Angirasam Nama Hyasate Swarga Kamyaya Tatra Gatva Gopa Yachastasmat Visarjitaha Kirtayanto Bhagavata Aryasya Mamachabidham. So these boys went and told Krishna has said, give us food. These men said, who is that Krishna? We don't have to respect that boy who runs behind the cows and calves, stealing butter. Do you think we have to accord the respects to him? We are not interested to go tell that Krishna, your leader. These boys came, Krishna, those mamas said we will not give food. Mama said, those uncles said we will not give food. Krishna said, Mama said, right? Go ask the mommies. Go ask their wives. So these boys went to the backyards, knocked at the door. Those women, they opened and they said, who are you? We are all Krishna's friends. Krishna's friends. What message does he have for us? He said, go collect the prasadam from your house. Sure, whatever they had cooked, they gave. This is the Sambhavam in Bhagavatam. People will just walk past this Sambhavam. There is nothing, no miracle, right? We need that lifting of the mountain, dancing on that snake. We are all VFX people. What is there in this? Mama said we will not give food. Mommy said we will give food. Bas ho gaya. Aapko khana mil gaya na, bas ho gaya. Isme kya hai? Here is the point. We have the 4 Vedas. First, I am going to give you a 4x4 matrix. 2x2 is SWOT analysis. Now we will do 4x4. So, Rig, Yajuhu, Sama, Atharvanam. These are the 4 Vedas. But in Prachina Kalam, it is always said Veda Trayi. There are 3. Why? Because, and some say 2. Because Rig Vedam is in poetic form. Rik means poetry. It is in the certain meter. So Rik is poetry. So Rig Veda's mantras will be grouped together as mandalams. Remember all these. You have to note it down or remember. Or you can audio record also. I have no problem. No copyright. You can record. India has talent. Only if it is latent, we have a problem. Talent, no problem. So, Rig is poetry, which is called Padyam. Tamilil Kavidai endu solvom. Telugu bhashalo padyalu kada. Telugu bhashalo padyalu ante poetic verses. Kannadadalli ಹೇಳುವಾಗ ಪದ್ಯ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೀವಿ. मलयालത്തിൽ पद्यमाण. फिर हिंदी में क्या बोलते हैं? पद्य. जो कविता की रूप में होता है वो उसको बोलते हैं पद्य. करेक्ट? Any other language I have left? Any other word? No. You have understood padyam? Huh? Gujarati में पद्य. पद्य छे. अवलदने छे. अवलदा. So padya. Padya is poetry. So Rigvedam is padyam. If you sing that Rigveda padya in a certain fashion, it is called Samam. So Samaveda is 90% Rigveda, but in a musical form. But don't assume that music will be the current day music. It will go only in 3 octaves. Anuddatam, Swaritam, Udattam, Dirgha Swaritam. That extra sound. For example, if you take the Krishna Yajurveda, Sahasra Sirsha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat Sabhumim Vishwato Vritva Atyatishthadashangulam Purusha Yevedagum Sarvam Yadbhutam Yatchabhavyam. This is the sound. You cannot add your own. See, Swara Lopam, if it happens, it is a great dosham. So, Rigvedam is poetry. You have understood? If it is sung in a certain fashion, it becomes Samavedam. Yajurvedam is prose. It is Gadyam, not Padyam. Gadyam. Same word in other languages. Gadyam ane prose. Prose is not generally singable because you won't have it in a certain meter. So this is Yajurvedam. In Yajurvedam, we have 2 subcategories. Krishna Yajurvedam, Shukla Yajurvedam. Most of Dakshina Bharatam is Krishna Yajurvedam. When you travel towards Maharashtra and further to Gujarat, it becomes towards Rajasthan, it becomes Shukla Yajurvedam. So we have Rigvedam, Samavedam, in between Yajurvedam. Some excerpts of all these 3 Vedas put together becomes the 4th Veda called Atharvana Vedam. So you can either say Vedas are 2 in number. Why? Rigvedam is equal to Samavedam. So that is 1. Second is Yajurvedam. When you split it, it becomes Rig, Yajuhu, Samam, 3. When you take the excerpts of all the 3, it becomes the 4th. Rig, Yajuhu, Sama, Atharvanam. 4 columns you have got. Now I am going to divide them into rows. Each of these Vedas has 4 splits in them. Brahmanam, Aranyakam, Samhita, Upanishad. Is it boring? No, then I'll go to the narration. So, this is technical, this is theoretical. So we have 4 portions. Brahmanam. This Brahmanam has nothing to do with Brahmana. Somebody will take this excerpt and say, he is very, very Varna conscious. He says that. Brahmanam is one portion that talks about Brahman. So first row is Brahmanam. Second is Aranyakam. Third is Samhita. Fourth is Upanishad. Now I have got 4x4 matrix. the first 3 rows of Brahmanams, Aranyakam and Samhita across the 4 Vedas is called Karma Kandam. So it is 3 by 4, correct? Correct? Maths correct? So you have got 12 cells. Out of the 16 cells, 12 cells is occupied, and that is called Karma Kandam. This Karma Kandam will largely talk about yajnas, havans, whom it has to be done. Vajapeyam, you have got Atiratram, then you have got Jyotishtomam, Jyotishtomena Swargakamo Yajeta. Then you have got a yagam called Kareri. Lot of yajnas. See, our yajnas are done in this aluminium foil. We do it for 20 minutes, right? Havan. That is not that yajnam I'm talking about. Large scale yajnam. It will be, the yajna kundam itself will be in the form of a eagle. That is the yajnam that Dasharatha performed, says Shrimad Ramayanam. It is called Atiratram. See, in fact, I'll go one step earlier. Today, we have all qualified in engineering, visual communication, artificial intelligence. 100 years before, what were we? Somebody would have been performing yagam in our family. 300 years before, sure. Because only if you're married, you're allowed to perform a havan. That from that day, you have to take a diksha to do a ritual called Agnihotram. You will be given the surname Agnihotri. He's making movies, right? So in the earlier days, Agnihotri means you have to do Agnihotram. That is a technical requirement. In the morning, afternoon, and in the evening, especially in the morning and evening, you have to do that fire ritual. And that fire should not get extinguished. Remember, you have to preserve that fire till your death. And that fire only will be used to burn your body. You cannot take one matchbox and light it. You're getting the point of Agnihotram? Now, while you're doing that Agnihotram, how will you differentiate the morning Agni and evening Agni? The Agni Kundam's area will vary. The first morning thing will be in square. Evening will be in circle. So, Aryabhatta asks a question. The area has to be the same. How do you do that? For that, he gives a formula. Chaturadhika shatam ashtagunam dvasashti sahasranam dvi ayutascha. He says chaturadhika shatam, 4 more than 100. How much? 104. Ashtagunam, multiply it with 8. 832. Add it to Dvasashti Sahasranam. 2 more than 60. 62. Sahasranam, 1000. So 62,000 plus 832, 62,832. Then he says divided by Dva Ayutascha, divided by 20,000. You will get 3.1416, which is the pi value. Multiply it with that radius, and then you will get that area, because the area of a, see, when you have vertices, it is easy. When you don't have, when you just have the periphery, it is tough. So this is called Agnihotram. So all these yagas that we know comes in Karma Kandam. That 3 into 4, that is Karma Kandam. The last row is Upanishad. That is called Jnana Kandam. So in Karma Kandam, it talks about yaga, Agni, Prakriya. But whom are you propitiating through that yajna? Paramatma. So the jnanam about Paramatma, who is the destination, the upayam, comes in Jnana Kandam. There were certain people who believed only in the Karma Mimamsa, Karma Kandam. They didn't go progress themselves to Jnana Kandam. So they said, I am doing that yagam because Vedam says do the yagam. I don't have to believe in Paramatma, Bhagavan, there is God and there is Almighty and there is Paramatma. I don't have to believe. I am doing that yagam. Who is giving you the fruit? They'll say yagam is giving me the fruit. So they were called Purva Mimamsakas. They believed in Karma Kandam but not in Jnana Kandam of Upanishad. So they believed only in that yagam. Whereas there were Uttara Mimamsakas who believed that you have to do that yagam as mentioned in the Karma Kandam, but also delineate, internalize and contemplate on Paramatma as given in Uttara Mimamsa, which is Jnana Kandam. They were called Uttara Mimamsakas. The Brahmanas who did not accede to Krishna's request were Purva Mimamsakas. When they said Krishna is asking you to give the food, they said we will concentrate only on that yajnam and we will not give. whereas the wives were Uttara Mimamsakas. They believed in Upanishads and they believed that Krishna has to be served and have to be given. So in the same house, you will have two different opinions. Purva Mimamsakas, the husband will not go to the temple. Wife will go temple after temple. Isn't this featured in Tamil Nadu? So, Purva Mimamsakas and Uttara Mimamsakas. Deshakala. So that is why I said, for explaining this, I had to give you that explanation of Karma Mimamsa. Otherwise, you can just go to any Bhagavatam lecture. They'll say, Deshakalaha Prathak Dravyam Mantra Tantra Agnayaha Devata. Krishna was not given food by the husbands. Mommies gave food. Next, we'll go to the next chapter. But why? That why is very important. You cannot just rely on that word-to-word meaning. Now, meanwhile, Krishna one day spotted his father in a deep discussion with his friends. He went and asked, Papa, what is the discussion? Papa said, we are now planning to do an Utsavam for Indra. Indra Utsavam, every year, it's an annual affair. So that is when the father, Krishna, asked, why do we have to propitiate Indra? Indra is the one responsible for the clouds. Today we depend on cloud. Right? All our data is in the cloud. So Indra is the one responsible for us. If that cloud fails, that's all. So clouds, Indra is holding all the waters. No, Krishna said, why should we do an Utsavam for him? As such, when we do the yajnas, we say Indra, Yaswaha. We are already giving him a salary, Havis. Giving him a salary and then Rishwak, what is that? Bribe? Lanjam, that under the table transaction is not required, Papa. Why do we have to do it for Indra? We can do it for somebody else. Krishna, you advise whom we have to do. 7-year-old boys advising all these people. Krishna said, see, our livelihood thrives on selling the dairy products. Dairy, whichever form you take, curds, ghee, everything comes from the primary source, milk. Milk is given by the cows. Cows get their strength from the grass. And the only one that selflessly gives away her grass is the mountain called Govardhanam. So why don't we propitiate Govardhanam? Volunteers should be appreciated. Like how this entire festival is running through the help of volunteers' help. People come at 3 o'clock and cook. Every day prasadam. So volunteers should be celebrated. Papa, let's do puja to Govardhanam. Krishna, whatever you say is right. That is what made them Gopas. Had we been there? I'm quite doubtful, Krishna. We need to hold a referendum on this. We need to ask people if we can do it for Govardhan or not. Let's work democratically. And then we'll see. By the time we do democratically, this Janma will go, next Janma will be born elsewhere. This is when they all agreed. So Krishna said, then these people asked, how should we propitiate Govardhanam? Krishna said, let's make whatever food varieties we know. Let us carry them in bullock carts towards the foothill of that particular mountain called as Govardhanam. They all cooked varieties of food. They took it to the foothill. First, they had to lay a cloth on the ground. So, Mama's dhoti was used. Even to make fryams, Mama veshtila da mandva. Ungatle avlo nanna irke vada avar veshtila pottadu swami. So that dhoti was extended, and on that cooked rice was kept like Kailasha Parvatam. All this description is there. Varieties of food were placed. Now these Gopas were so innocent. They said, we will trust that the Govardhana Parvatam is happy and pleased with our devotion only when it consumes all this food. Why do we keep prasadam to Bhagavan? With a complete confidence, he will not eat. தெரியும் நமக்கு அவர் சாப்பிட மாட்டார் சார். நம்ம பண்ணதெல்லாம் போய் அவர் சாப்பிடுவாரா? அவ்வளோ நாக்கு கெட்டு போயிடுதா அவருக்கு? So he will not. The moment he starts eating, we will stop keeping. You just think, ஐயோ எல்லாத்தையும் சாப்பிட்டு வச்சுடுறார் அவர். ஒண்ணுமே வைக்கப்படாது சுவாமி. So Krishna had to make these people believe. You remember in 1996 or 97, there was a big turmoil. Ganesha drinks milk. You remember? Are you from that generation? In my house, I kept that Nandini milk. In Bangalore, we used to get Nandini. We kept. So, suddenly one day, Ganesha is drinking milk. So, from this, what is the conclusion? Ganesha is not vegan. He is not vegan. Otherwise, you would have had peanut milk, oat milk, something you would have had. So, now, Krishna said, you all do a parikrama around the Parvatam. Do a pradakshina. Let's see whether the Parvatam has. We need to give some time. As these people went, Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehamashritha, Krishna had all that food. So they were extremely happy. So they all went home. This is where the problem began. Narada went and asked the king of the clouds, Indra, Indra, you've got your Mamul collection ho gaya? He said, no, aane wala hai, nahi aayega. Because Utsavam is over for Govardhanam. Why is it there for you? Indra got angry. He called the Samvartaka Megham and he said, let there be a cloud burst in Vrindavanam. Cloud burst. It started pouring cats and dogs. Water levels started rising. Waters entered their houses despite their houses not being constructed on lakes. So water started entering their houses. Now the last whatever TV, washing machine they received in the last election, they were all floating. Ujjwala cylinder, everything was floating. Now these women, they all swam towards Krishna's house and they knocked at Krishna's house and it opened and Krishna was having sweets. For him it doesn't matter whether it's flooding or not flooding. Some people are very chilled people. They are not bothered. Krishna was having, men may come, men may go, but I go on forever. So these women went and it was pouring, so it was getting cold. They couldn't speak continuously. Stanahita swastika bahubandha, says the Acharya. Styanalakaha sannata vaktra padmaha. With their mouth and lips that were akin to the petals of a lotus, they were shivering in the cold. How did it look? Vadita danta veenaha. It looked as if they were playing veena with their mouth. So this is all poetic beauty. So they said, Krishna, look at these cows and calves, they are suffering. Pouring it is. Krishna said, come, follow me. So they all followed. Again, magic. So Krishna drew a thin line around that mountain, lifted that mountain. What? He lifted. And he held for 7 days. Now comes another problem. Harivamsham and Yadavabhyudayam states that Krishna reversed the mountain. Why, sir? Only then the cows and calves will get leaves and grass to graze. If he holds it just like that, where will their food come from? For 7 days they have to stay, right? Harivamsha states that he reversed that mountain, held it like the inverted triangle for 7 days. When I told this somewhere, they said, no. Bhagavat states that he just lifted like that. But I said, Harivamsham states he inverted. How could he invert if he has lifted the mountain? Can't he invert? Havlo makka? I said. So, he lifted. Now, Yashoda was feeding her son. He was holding. She said, she was feeding. Why should my son alone hold that mountain? Pankajam, can't your son hold the mountain for some time? Mere bete ko hi karna padega kya? People gathered around Nandagopa and they said, Nandagopa, yes. Is this really your son? Because you don't seem to have performed anything remarkable in your life. But producing this boy. How is he able to hold the mountain? 7 days Krishna held. The clouds were bereft of waters. They turned white. And there were no rains left. They all went home. Krishna placed that mountain in that same spot. This is what Bhagavatam states. Many of them will say, sir, just don't narrate Bhagavat. Tell us how it is applicable in 2025. I'll tell you. If you take one object from a place, you should keep that back in the same place. Correct? I have to give you, they'll say, make it applicable. This is this application. If you take something, some people will take, they will never keep it back in that place. How is Bhagavatam? You take it, keep it in that same place. That's all. Today what sells is not Bhagavata Saptaham. 101 lessons from Bhagavatam. Immediately Stephen Covey will also come. He'll say, I gave only 7 habits. He's telling 101. He'll come. So if we tell the narration, it has to come with that. Some wax candles lit. And that baritone as Krishna was doing this. That baritone means he's a very great speaker. If I tell in that local language, see, today, only if I tell certain portions which are beyond the realm of human understanding, they'll call me a scholar. If everything is understandable, sabhi samajh mein aa raha hai, ye to vidwan hi nahi hai. Certain things I have to say. The cosmic existence of the sentient matter that travels the 5 gross elements, and as it goes through the attributes of knowledge, in the spheres that we understand of the Atma, there you can see the Paramatma giving us grace. Great Vidwan. We would not have understood anything. Periya Vidwan na puri Ramari. It should go overhead transmission. That is the 2025 we are living in. Now, Krishna held that mountain, kept it back. Now, we have a connection here. Please remember. In Shrimad Ramayanam, the Upodghatam, at the commencement, the Devas do Sharanagati to Bhagavan, stating that there is anti-social element called Ravana. Come and annihilate him. He is very troublesome. Bhagavan says, Siddha Gandharva Yakshascha Tatastvam Sharanam Gataha. Don't worry. See, when people come with Kampanam, Bhiti, fear, Bhagavan does this and says, don't worry. This is called Abhaya Mudra. You ask for something, he gives you. So this is called Varada Mudra. This is Abhayam, this is Varada. So don't worry. But Bharata Desham is worried about this now. So, now, let's get to the lotus side of Bhagavan now. So, here, when we see certain incidents in Shrimad Bhagavatam, we have to understand it with Ramayana perspective. Bhagavan told Indra, don't worry. I will be born as Rama, Dasharatha Putra. He was born as promised. Sita was abducted. Rama went, got rid of the adharmic force and returned. When Rama Pattabhishekam happened, Ramam Ratnamaye Pithe Sasitam Sanyaveshayat Vasishtho Vamadevascha Jabali Ratha Kashyapaha Katyayanaha Suyagyascha Gautamo Vijayastatha Abhyashinchannaravyagра Prasannena Sugandhina Salilena Sahasraksham Vasavo Vasavam Yatha. When Rama Pattabhishekam happened, you read the last sargam of Yudha Kandam in Valmiki Ramayana. Everybody attended to Rama Pattabhishekam but Indra. Indra, who had done Sharanagati, did not come. He sent his gift through Vayu. Vayu delivered it through DHL. So that was given to Rama. Rama gave it to Sita. Sita gave it to Hanuman. This breaking of that mala and all is not there in Ramayana. Okay. Now that is what. Now they'll say, no, Hanuman started searching for Sita. All that is not there in Valmiki Ramayana. That gift was given, Hanuman sported. That's all. So Indra did not come. The one who had prostrated, the one who had propitiated, the one who had performed Sharanagati to Bhagavan did not come. So for Rama Pattabhishekam, everybody had come but. Now in Krishna Avataram, Bhagavan being the parent of all should give lessons. See, if you're a good parent, in a non-violent, prudent way, you have to teach lessons to your children. I don't come from that society where, full freedom, whatever they want, they do. Then you will have to, without using abusive words, without being violent, you can always correct the children. That is the duty of the parent. Right? Who will do mistakes like you? Very good. How did you do it? You have to ask that child. The child will give you an explanation on how he did that mistake. That is not what we belong to. I don't come from that school. I'll head back tomorrow to Bharata Desham. So, here, Bhagavan had to teach Indra a lesson. That is why in Sri Krishna Avataram, Shrimad Bhagavatam, when Bhagavan lifted the Parvatam and kept it back at its place and all of them had left that place, Indra personally comes and does Sharanagati to Krishna. He said, Krishna, when you lifted the mountain, it looked like a crown momentarily for you. Since you protected the cows, Gavam Indraha Govindaha, that is a Vyutpatti. The one who is the chief of the bovine like is called Gavam Indraha Govindaha. You are Govinda, and that mountain looked like a crown. For you it looked like Pattabhishekam, coronation. So I invite all the divine cows that I possess to do Abhishekam for you in milk. So there you had Rama Pattabhishekam. Here it is Govinda Pattabhishekam. There everybody else had come but Indra. Here nobody else had come but Indra. Govardhana Giridhara Govinda Gokula Palaka Paramananda Govardhana Giridhara Shri Vatsankita Shri Kaustubhadhara Pavaka Bhayahara Pahi Mukunda Govardhana Giridhara. Krishna lifted. Indra's Garva Bhangam happened. They all went home. Now you remember Krishna had yesterday promised at about 8:20 to those Gopika Stris, marriage is not possible, but on one autumnal night I will give you one Anubhavam. He had practiced being the percussionist as well. He was a flautist. One night came at about 8 p.m. when milk, in some houses, milk will be boiled at that point in time. Have you heard of a poet called Bhartrhari? He's a great Samskrita poet who lived 2000 years back. He gave us 3 works called Shatakatrayam, Niti Shatakam, Vairagya Shatakam, Shringara Shatakam. Great Acharya. He says that milk and water are the best of friends. Milk and water. Our milkman knows that very well. That's why he keeps on adding water. So that friends live together. So milk and water, in chemistry it is called colloid because it is liquid in liquid. So milk and water. You put that to a pot and let it boil. The water content gets evaporated. So you're essentially separating water from his closest friend, milk. So the milk is unable to withstand this separation from water. So it rises, it boils. Mat jao. So that time, how do you condition that milk? So you take some waters and sprinkle over it. Momentarily it gets samadhanam. So boiling was happening. One house people were eating, having their dinner. This flute music was heard. Melodious music was heard. All the women were interestingly, incidentally, accidentally attracted. Why am I telling? None of the men were attracted. See, flute music, men should also relish, right? But it may so happen in many families, the wife will be a patron to music. Shastriya Sangeetam. Husband may know nothing. If you marry a person who loves music, through every now and then they'll keep humming in that house. கொஞ்ச நாழி கம்முனரியா பே பாடிண்டே இருக்க வேண்டியது. That happens in my house. Now, technically, if you're sound in classical music, you will know the nuances between ragam. Sarigama, Shankarabharanam, Sarigama, Kalyani, Sarigama, Hamir Kalyani. Who is this Hamir? Some person. But the ragam is called Hamir Kalyani. So, music. So the women were interested in music. Men were not interested. They were not fascinated by the music. The women were attracted and they all walked out of their houses. The women got out of their houses and started walking towards that place from which this music was coming. As they started heading towards that place, 5 lakh women folk. This is what Bhagavatam says, not 5 or 10. Nice, sir. Ramanand Sagar, see, he has to pay every artist. How many can he recruit? So he will recruit only 100. But Bhagavatam says 5 lakh. 5 lakh women folk gathered. Have a drone shot. Autumnal night, no leaves. Trees that were bereft of leaves. The nectarine rays of the moon could creep through the gaps. Large hills in the background. Meandering dark waters of Yamuna. Silver which could be made into fine powder as the sands of Yamuna on either sides. Birds there to witness a drishyam that they have never seen, ever seen before. The Devas as percussionists waiting for that momentous occasion. When all this was happening, Krishna was standing below a tree in the Tribhangi form. Not straight, his hip bent, his leg tilted, his shoulder slightly tilted with a flute. Yadavaraya Vrindavana Dolu. He was playing. As these women gathered, Krishna said, this should not be the fashion. You all stand in circles. Circles, echo. So the first circle, the second, the third, the fourth. Imagine concentric circles, drone shot. Now Krishna tells from the center, can you hear me? Hear me? Hear me? Leave a gap, not that brand. So, one gap, one woman. All of you close your eyes, closed. Open. There was Krishna on either sides. Again magic. Anganam antare madhavaha. Madhavam cha antare nangana. Itham akalpite mandale madhyagaha. Sanjagau Venuna Devaki Nandanaha. Between two Krishnas was one Gopikastri. Between two Gopikastris was one Krishna. They all held their hands together. Bhattadri 450 years back reimagined this scenario in Guruvayur. As he saw, so he wrote. Kesha Pasha Dhrita Pinchika Vidati Sanchalan Makara Kundalam Harajalavana Malika Lalitam Angaraga Ghana Saurabham Pita Chela Dhrita Kanchi Kanchita Mudanjagam Shumani Nupuram Rasa Keli Paribhushitam Tavahiru Pamisha Kalayamahe. Now, some of your children may ask, when Krishna dances with women, you are all engrossed in devotion. When I dance, why do you object? Correct? Now, this should be viewed from the philosophical perspective. If you see it from a Laukika perspective, their question is right. Philosophical perspective, we believe, Yasya Atma Shariram, Yasya Prithvi Shariram. To the one where the Jivatmas are his body and the Achetanam is his body. See, we have a body. In Dharma, we believe there's a Jivatma. Within that Jivatma, the Antaratma is Paramatma. So, Paramatma covered with Jivatma, to which there is a body. So, body is Achetanam, Jivatma is Chetanam. So, Paramatma, who's the Antaryami, has Chetana, Achetanam as his body. If you have not understood, leave it. It's okay. So, Yasya Atma Shariram, Yasya Prithvi Shariram. Similarly, when we view the universe, all the Jivatmas and Achetanam constitutes his body. So technically, in the Laukika perspective, if I hit his hand, Antariksh will say, this is violence. You can't hit my body because my body is hitting his. But if in case, instead of hitting his hand, if I hit my hand, I cannot go file a case because I'm touching my own body. The Gopikas, Stris and their Jivatmas are Bhagavan's body. So when he dances with them, it is his own body. Only when we see from a Laukika perspective, we see the woman as different from Krishna. For Krishna in the Vaidika perspective, the entire Jagat is his Shariram. Jagat sarvam shariram te. Nana saindhalasayum agilamellame அறிவாய் மனிதா உன் ஆணவம் பெரிதா பாடவாயனை ஆட வந்ததொரு பாடவாயை மூட வந்ததொரு பாட்டும் நானே பாவமும் நானே பாடும் உன்னை நான் பாட வைத்தேனே. So the entire world is his body. So Rasa Krida is a beautiful depiction to prove the supremacy of Paramatma and not the Laukika December 31st dance. So that is Rasa Krida. Now, while I've been describing about the Gopikas threes, there is one name that cannot be just wished away or moved away. Whenever there is Krishna, the word Radha has to come into picture. But in Shrimad Bhagavatam, we don't have a reference to this character at all. How do we then come across? Because whenever we think of Krishna, Radha Sameta Krishna. So whenever we think of Krishna, Radha has to be there. But why doesn't Radha come here? We don't have a mention of Radha. But if you put a Google search, you may come across the word Radha in Bhagavatam. But Radha there is not a noun. It is a bhavam. Radha means love. So it comes in the perspective of an adjective or a guna, but not the character. But we have reference to Radha in a few other Puranas. In Devi Bhagavatam, there's a line, Radhanoti Sakalan Kaman Radheti Prakitita. So we have a reference to Radhika and Radha in other Puranas, not in Vishnu Puranam or Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam gives a failed reference. It says Krishna was attached to a certain Gopikas tree. But that Gopikas tree, we don't know whether it's Radha. Vedanta Deshika mentions of Radha thrice in Yadavabhyudayam. But Radha's presence comes exquisitely beautiful in a work called Gita Govindam. So this was written roughly 1000 years back by a great poet, prolific poet called Jayadeva, who was from the village called Kenduli in Odisha. Near Puri Jagannatha Kshetram, his wife was called Padmavati. So he reimagined Krishna Bhakti through Radha's perspective. So there we have a mention that opposite Nandagopal's house was another person whose daughter was Radhika. It is believed she was a few years older to Krishna. Tendulkar. So few years older to Krishna. So she used to keep engaging Krishna, entertaining Krishna. Mother was a very busy lady, Yashoda. So one day, while Krishna was roughly 8-9 years old, she said, Radhika, engage my son. Very troublesome to maintain Krishna. Take him somewhere. So she took him to Panagal Park. So evening time, 5:30, they were seated on a bench. Radhika was viewing left and right. And when she turned, she saw Krishna missing. In Krishna's place was a 16-year young boy. Bell-bottoms pant, curly hair. So she asked, Ab kaun ho? Main Krishna hu. You become so handsome, 16 years. How did you increase in age? I am a magician. I will do anything I want. So that is when she developed love towards Krishna. And then she said, I will wait for you at 8 p.m. by the banks of river Yamuna. I'll wait for you. Come there. So they have got an appointment. Krishna doesn't come. That is when she sends her Sakhi to find out where Krishna is. Then Sakhi informs Krishna is there playing with the other women. She gets upset. This conversation between Sakhi, Radha and Krishna becomes a beautiful poem called Gita Govindam. It's called Ashtapadi. Lalita Lavangalata Parishilana Komala Malaya Samire Radhe Lalita Lavanga Chandana Chachita Neela Kalebara Pita Vasana Vanamali ಸಂಚರದಧರ ಸುಧಾ ಮಧುರ ಧ್ವನಿ ಮುಖರಿತ ಮೋಹನ ವಂಶಂ ನಿಂದತಿ ಚಂದನಮಿಂದು ಕಿರಣಮನು ವಿಂದತಿ ಖೇದಮಧೀರಂ. So every Ashtapadi is beautiful. You have to take your time out and engage in Ashtapadi. Beautiful beautiful love that engaged was there between Krishna and Radha. So this Radha, she talks with Krishna throughout the night. By 5 a.m., Yashoda and Nandagopa had gone to the police station to complain. Son is missing. That is when Radha comes with Krishna. Kya hua? Where were you, Radha? No, we just lost our way, she says. Whatever happened between 6:30 in the evening and 5 a.m. in the morning is called Gita Govindam. So, Krishna returns. That is why in Tamil, most other Gopika Stris were very jealous, envious of Radha, because Krishna used to have his concentration only on Radha. புல்லாங்குழலி சைனிமையினாலே உள்ளமே ஜில்லென துள்ளாதா ராகத்திலே அனுராகமேவினால் ஜகமே ஊஞ்சலிலாடாதா விருந்தாவனமும் நந்தகுமாரனும் யாவருக்கும் பொது செல்வமன்றோ ஏனோ ராதா இந்த பொறாமை யார்தான் அழகால் மயங்காதவரோ. Beautiful Radha Krishna that comes into picture. Now finally, when Krishna is around 10 years old, Kamsa realizes, because all his WhatsApp group members, Putana, Shakata, Agha, Baka, Keshi, everybody is dead. All died. Now in that group, he was the only one left. He was the admin. That's all. Nobody else was there in that group. So that is when he thought it is prudent to call Krishna here. How will Krishna come? Only when a person from his government who's trusted goes, they will send Krishna. So in his government, there was a no confidence motion. Nobody could be trusted except Akrura, who used to pay his taxes. So this Akrura was sent. Akrura's Gamana. Akrura thought this is a wonderful opportunity to meet Krishna, whom he has been listening to, hearing about all these years. So he takes it upon himself the arduous task of bringing Krishna to Mathura. So he goes. He goes there. People welcome Akrura with open hands. They are extremely hospitable. Argyam, Padyam, Achamaniyam. This is the Kriya of Atithi Satkaram. You give water to wash hands, feet. Then you give them food. Argyam, Padyam, Achamaniyam. So when Krishna sees Akrura, Akrura is amazed. This is the first time he's seeing Krishna was that magical person. You will fall in love immediately. Love at first sight. So Krishna was extremely handsome. People fell in love. Akrura fell in love. That night he announces, he tells Nandagopa, this is not your son. He gets the shock of his life. He goes and tells Yashoda. Yashoda is unable to believe those words. She says, who gave this man the name Akrura? He should be given the name Krura. Akruraha sakrura hridayaha. How does he even think he can separate Krishna for us? The next morning when Krishna was put into Akrura's chariot, she ran behind that chariot. Who will give my son those butter balls every morning he wakes up? Who will give him that bath? You are separating him from me. When will I get to see my dear Krishna again? The irony is he never returns to Vrindavanam. Later there is another Sambhavam. When Krishna then later becomes the king of Dwaraka, he befriends a person called as Uddhava. Uddhava was Gishpati Putra, the son of Brihaspati, very well spoken and learned. He associates himself with Krishna so very well that eventually Krishna, Uddhava starts aping Krishna. He looks like Krishna, he behaves like Krishna. People used to get confused whether it is Krishna or Uddhava. So Uddhava developed a false arrogance in him because people respect me as Krishna. There is no one who can understand Krishna as me. So Krishna wanted to bring his arrogance down. So he said, Uddhava, I promised to go to Vrindavanam. Can you go on my behalf? Uddhava was, oh, I have to represent you. He went. The moment they saw the flag with the emblem fluttering high in the sky of Dwaraka, people thought Krishna had come. They offered him different sweets. Shondesh, Roshogullo, Gude Roshogullo, Chonopes. Then there was Peda, there was Petha. There was Puran Poli, there was Putarekulu, there was Bandar Laddu, there was Kakinada Kaja, there was Adirasam, there was Ambalapura Payasam, there was Mysore Pak. Everything was given. Then Uddhava shed tears. Why? He thought to himself, I was thinking that nobody can love Krishna like me, nobody can know Krishna as me. Look at these Gopikastris. They have not studied anything, but look at their Krishna Bhakti. Evam Bhakti Sakala Bhuvane Nekshita Nashrutava Kim Shastra Ughaihi Kimiha Tapasa Gopikabhyo Namostu. Evam Bhakti Sakala Bhuvane Nekshita Nashrutava. I have neither heard nor seen Krishna Bhakti. Kim Shastra Ughaihi. What is the use of telling, I have read the scriptures, when I can't match Gopika's trees in their bhakti to Krishna? Kim Shastra Ughaihi Kimiha Tapasa Gopika Bhyo Namostu Ityananda Kulam Upagatam Gokula Tuddhavam Tam Drishtva Hristo Guru Purapate Pahima Mama Yaughat. So, the Gopika's trees, they just ran behind Krishna. They couldn't see Krishna getting separated from them. This period when Krishna was in Gokulam is the highest form of bhakti. Later he came to the political world, this Dhritarashtra, this Duryodhana, that was the cruelty of life. Till he was in Gokulam, Vrindavanam, the best part, the moment politics comes in, Shakuni, all these characters come, gone. So, Krishna reaches, he has to come to Mathura. Meanwhile, Akrura stopped to do Sandhya Vandanam. When he enters the waters of Yamuna, he sees something astonishing. He sees Krishna seated on Adisesha in the waters. When he does one dip, he sees Krishna. When he comes out, Krishna is smiling at him from the chariot. He goes again, he sees Krishna again. He comes out. So, Krishna Avataram is full of magic, double action. Vani Rani, Sita Gita. There is one Krishna, here is one Krishna. 450 years back, I keep telling you, reminding you of another great bhakta called Narayana Bhattadri. He lived in the state of Kerala, Dakshina Bharatam. Great poet. You can't even imagine what knowledge he had. He wrote a work called Prakriya Sarvaswam. Great Acharya. He was suffering, his Acharya, Achyuta Pisharoti, was suffering from Vatarogam, rheumatoid arthritis. It was painful, excruciating pain. And that too in cold places, when people suffer from arthritis, it can be really painful. Being an ardent disciple of his Acharya, he performed a yajna and took that ailment from his Acharya. In those days, it was possible. You can take, if we know somebody, we will be outside that person's house. Take my ailments. Right. Sir, take my toothache. So, this Acharya called Achyuta Pisharoti, he took that ailment of rheumatoid arthritis, Vatarogam, from his teacher onto him. So he started suffering. When he started suffering, he realized how painful it was. He didn't know how to spend his time. That is when another Acharya said, why don't you write the essence of Shrimad Bhagavatam Mahapuranam, which comprises of 12 skandhas and 18,000 shlokas, untenable to the general mankind to even do a Parayanam. Write the quintessence of it in 1034 shlokas instead of 18,000. So he would read the original work, internalize, contemplate, and give the quintessence in the form of shlokas. Together, this compendium is called Narayaneeyam. As he was writing Dashakam after Dashakam, chapter after chapter, towards the end, after completing roughly about 986 shlokas, he realized that he was cured of his rheumatoid arthritis because he was doing Sashtanga Namaskaram to Krishna. Krishna Tasmai Namaste. Oh, he was cured. Done. Bhagavatam's essence is done. And he was cured of it. The 99th Dashakam also came into picture. While the 100th Dashakam, it was done. That is when Bhattadri, the great Acharya, was leaning on to the pillar of Guruvayur, Krishna's temple in Dakshina Bharatam. He was thinking of Krishna's great pastimes and Leela Cheshtitam. He said, Bhagavan, when it was believed that the Vedas and the very Vedic essence was lost, you took the form of Matsya, Meenavataram, to bring the lost Vedas from the deepest trenches back to Brahma. When different forms of wealth was found missing, you took the form of a tortoise with a very hard back. Kanduya nairandrina nidranasya parasya kurma vapushaha nishvasa vatormayaha. You took the form of Ajita pushing the Mandara Parvatam down. You gave the strength to the Asuras and the Devas in the churning process. You became the Dhanavantri carrying the Amritam and Mohini who distributed the Amritam. When Bhuma Devi had lost her sheen by going into the deepest waters, you had become Varaha. Udhritasi Varahena Krishnena Shatabahuna. And Prahlada had to declare to his tyrant father that my Bhagavan, whom I worship and propitiate, is found in every bit of space. Trailokyameta dakhilam narasimha garbham. You emerge from the pillar. Are kvasau sakala jagadatma haririti prabhintisme stambham chalita karavalo ditisutaha ataf paschad vishnu nahivaditum ishosmi sahasa kripatman vishwatman pavanapuravasin mridayamam stambhe ghattayato hiranyakashipo stambau samachurnachan aghurna jagadanda kunda kuharo ghorastava bhudravaha shutva yam kila daitya raja hridaye purvakadapya shrutam kampakkashchana sampapata daitosma Ambhoja Bhuvishtarat, to prove the devotion of the boy you came as Nrisimha. When Bali Chakravarti at one point in time had developed an unfound arrogance in him, to bring the arrogance down in your very own child, you came as Vamana, the son of Aditi and Kashyapa, walked to the Yajnavatika, asked for 3 measures of land. You became the Trivikrama, pushing his Ahankaram down. When your father Jamadagni was killed by a Haihaya king called as Kartavirya Arjuna, you became Parashurama, holding the Parashu. Krodhagnim Jamadagni Pedana Bhavam Santarpaishyan Kramat. You performed the Pitrimeda Samskaram to your father by killing the Kshatriya kings. When you were born as the very personification of Karuna, Daya, Anukampa to your father Dasharatha, who was a monarch of Ayodhya, and to that dear wife called as Kaushalya. You were under the tutelage of a great Acharya called as Vasishtha. You imbibed all the qualities that is required for a perfect human being. And then when you went behind Vishwamitra into the forest, annihilating Tataka, Subahu, driving away Maricham Dravayitva, Makashirasi Sharair, Anyaroksham Sinigran, Kalyam, Kurvan, Halyam, Patipati Rajasa, Prapya Vaideha Geham, you went into Mithila. You lifted the bow, won the hearts of the people there, the heart of Janaka, and thereby received Sita as your wife. So were your brothers Bharata, Lakshmana, Shatrugna, who married Mandavi, Urmila, and Shrutakirti. On your way back to Ayodhya, you did the Garvabhangam of Parashurama. And while you were living happily in Ayodhya, that is when, with the brainwashing that happened with the aid of Manthara to Kaikeyi, who asked for 2 boons, she asked that Rama should be sent to forest for 14 years while her son Bharata should rule Ayodhya as the monarch, and while Dasharatha hesitatingly granted those boons. It was you who went to the forest like the Pranava with the A, U, Ma that walks. Akarartho Vishnu, similarly Agrataf Prayayau Ramaha, Sita Madhye Sumadhyama, Prishtatastu Dhanushpanihi Lakshmanaha Anujagamaha. Like the Pranavartham, you walked to the forest. You accepted the hospitality of Guha in Shringiberapura, of Bharadwaja in Prayaga Kshetram, went to the place called Chitrakuta by the banks of river Malyavati or Mandakini, and there you gave the Padukas to Bharata, Paduka Medinim Cha. Bharataya param namostu tasmai prathamodaharanaya bhaktibhajam yadupagyam asheshatah prithvyam pratito raghava paduka prabhavaha. Then after paduka pattabhishekam you entered the forest, was able to remove a thorn called as Viradha, entered the hermitages of Sharabanga, Sutikshna, Agastya, Valmiki, Atri, established your hermitage by the banks of river Godavari in Nashik, Panchavati, Bhavagyena, Kritagyena, Dharmagyena Lakshmana, Tvaya Putrena, Dharmatmana, Samvrita Pitamama. As you were living there you had the Garbhabhangam of Shurpanaka, who brought her half-brothers called Karadushana and Trishiras in Janasthana. Ekascharamo Dharmatma, Katham Yuddham Bhavishyati. You were able to annihilate 13,999 demons. And the 14,000th one called as Akampana went and spoke about the valor of Rama to Ravana. While Shurpanaka described the beauty of Sita to Ravana, he took the aid of Maricha, who came as a gem-studded golden deer. She asked for the deer. Rama went behind the deer, hearing the voice of Rama. For a moment, Sita was perturbed that something would have happened to the invincible Rama, where she dispatched Lakshmana. Lakshmana went. That is when Ravana came as a Parivrajaka. Sita was duped by him. That is when she was being abducted. Jatayu tried protecting. His wings were chopped off by Ravana with the sword called Chandrahasam. After that, Rama and Lakshmana went in search of Sita. They spotted Shabari. He was the witness to Shabari Moksham, granted Moksham to Jatayu. Gachalokan Anuttaman, Hanumat Samagamam happened, and that is when you were able to get rid of Vali through Sugriva, made Sugriva the king, Angada the Yuvaraja. With the help of the Vanaras, you let the Vanaras go in search of Sita in all directions. Hanuman came to Dakshina Bharatam with the aid of Jambavan's motivation and Sampati Vakya. Tadvatat Karnanodyat Garudurujava Sampati Vakya Protirna Nortinagri Nagari Janakadam Vikshatatvanguliyam Pradyudhyana Makshak Shapana Chanarano Shodabando Dashasyam Drishtva Pruštva Chalankam Jhatiti Sa Hanuman Mauliratnam Dadaute. Hanuman crossed the waters, Mainaka, Surasa, Simhika, Lankini, and then reached the inner apartment Shuddhatma of Ravana, thought momentarily Mandodari to be Sita, then went into Ashokavanam, saw Sita seated under the Shimshupa Vriksham. That is when he saw Sita, gave her the Chudamani, gave her the ring, accepted the Chudamani. Ashtasiddhi Navanidhi ke data asbardin Janaki mata Ram rasayan tumhare paasa sada Raho Raghupati ke dasa. That Hanuman who brought Chudamani back to Bharatadesham, Rama said, I have nothing to offer you, Hanuman. I can just give you a heartfelt embrace. Apara paravara Parikha Parivrita Parapura Parasrita Davadahana Javana Pavana Bhava Kapivara Parishwanga Bhavita Sarvasvadana. With the aid of the Vanaras, you went to Dakshina Bharatam. Again, you sought the permission of Samudra Raja. After obtaining the permission, with the aid of Vibhishana, you constructed a Setu, took the Vanaras there. Were able to get Ravana, Kumbhakarna, Indrajit, Malyava annihilated. After the Agni Pariksha brought Sita back. And after Rama Avataram came Krishna Avataram. Hey Krishna. Bhattadri thought, for a moment while you were born to Devaki and Vasudeva, in one night you shifted your base from Mathura to Gokulam. In Gokulam you were able to get rid of the evil forces and bring normalcy to the dharmic people. You were playing the flute, you danced on Kaliya, you lifted the Govardhanam. All of this you did, Krishna. And then when you came back very much to Mathura and then re-established your capital in Dwaraka, you made friends with the Pandavas who were your cousins, and their Patni became your closest friend called as Krishna or Draupadi. When Draupadi was in her menstruation periods and she was being humiliated in the middle of the Sabha, she said, Dhyayas sada Savitramandala Madhyavarti Narayana Sarasijasana Sannivishtaha Keyuravan Makarakundalavan Kiriti Hari Hiranmaya Vapuhu Dhritashanka Chakraha Shri Dwaraka Nilayachyuta Govinda Pundarikaksha Rakshamam Sharanagatam. It was your mercy that gave her that envelope, that sari that she required, that Mana Samrakshanam. Later in the Dharma Kshetram called Kurukshetram, when Pandavas and Kauravas were facing each other, when Arjuna had a volley of questions thrown at you at that point in time, being Partha Sarathi, hey Krishna, you stood in that chariot and gave the essence of the Upanishad. Sarvopanishado Gavaha Dugdha Gopalanandanaha Partho Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta Dugdham Gitamritam Mahad. You gave him the essence of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Swadharma Jnana, Vairagya, Sadhyabhaktyeka gocharaha Narayanaha Parambrahma Gita Shastre Samiritaha. While you gave the essence of all these Upanishads to that great calf student, your cousin called as Arjuna, in the Ekadashadhyayam, while you showed the Vishwarupa to him, Arjuna was able to witness all beauty in front of him with that effulgence and radiance. That Vishwarupam was witnessed by Arjuna. Whatever was witnessed by Arjuna was described by Sanjaya to Dhritarashtra. Later, Bhishmacharya and Drona were also able to get a glimpse of it. This poor man called Narayana Bhattadri in Kerala has been aspiring for it. Will I ever get to see that cosmic form? Asked Bhattadri. Beautiful hands with fingers that were as soft as the petals of a newly blossomed lotus tapped on his shoulders, and when he turned back, he got to see that Vishwarupam in front of his eyes. And as he saw, he wrote, Agre pashyami tejo nibidatara kala yavali lobhaniyam piyusha plavitoham tadanu tadutare divya kaishora vesham तारुण्यारंभरम्यं परमसुखरसा स्वादरोमाञ्चिताङ्गैः आवीतं नारदाद्यैः विलसदुपनिषत्सुन्दरी मण्डलैश्च. He saw that Vishwarupam in front of the eyes. That Vishwarupam which was witnessed now 450 years back by Bhattadri in Guruvayur in Kerala with the help of Krishna's grace was witnessed during the Bhagavatam times by Akrura within the waters of Yamuna while he was performing Sandhya Vandanam. So, as Akrura took Krishna to Mathura, like how people were upset in Vrindavanam that Krishna had gone away, Mathura people were happy. For them it was their own person coming back to pavilion. Swagatam Krishna, Sharanagatam Krishna, Madhura Puri Sadana, Mruduvadana, Madhusudana. They all welcomed Krishna on golden platter. They said, when Krishna has come, this man will go. Kamsa will go. People were there to welcome him. That is when there was one lady. She was called Aneka Vakra or Trivakra. She had a hunch, lot of deformities in her body. She couldn't even lift her head up and see. She had lot of hunches. The duty assigned to her by Kamsa was she has to grind sandal paste and give it to him. As per Dharma Shastram, only a married man can use sandal paste. So he was married, he was to be given sandal paste. So she used to be supplying sandal paste every day. Nobody had the audacity to ask for sandal paste. Today, and she would not give it either. Even if somebody asked, she wouldn't give. Today, Krishna, as he was walking, he saw that chandanam paste, sandalwood paste in a cup. He said, Kubja, can you give me some? Surprisingly, she offered. Immediately, the onlookers thought, she never ever parts with the sandal paste. How did she do it? Every day, she used to listen to discourses. One of the persons used to say, whoever is Paramatma has feet that is akin to the lotus. She could not see Krishna, but she could see his feet. So, the moment she saw it was Krishna's feet, she knew Paramatma was asking and she gave it. Krishna applied on his chest. What did I say? Married men can only apply. Later only Krishna gets married. How did he marry? Because as per Harivamsham, Krishna was married to his mother Yashoda's brother's daughter. She was called Neela in Harivamsham. See, today we have to follow the rules of the land. Whatever is the rule in Germany, you have to follow. In Bharatadesham, we have to follow what is the rule in India. Today we are given a certain age. Below 18 you cannot marry. Below 21 you cannot marry. But trust me, if you go back to your own grandparents and great-grandparents, they would have been married at 12 and 13. Nobody was waiting. Today we are waiting for that moment where the boy and the girl have to be well settled. They should have a house. That loan should be cleared. Their CIBIL score should be good. By that they should have a vahanam. Preferably no sister to that boy. So with all these qualifications, the marriage will happen just before the Sashtibda Purti. It will be very close to Ade Vadyara Vichin Sashtibda Purti Manila. So, but traditionally our grandparents and great-grandparents were married early. I am not discussing whether that has advantages or disadvantages, but Krishna was married early to his mother Yashoda's brother's daughter. She was called Neela in Sanskritam. In classical old Tamil literature, she is called Pinnai. Since she was a good Pinnai, Nal Pinnai, Nappinai. So Nappinai and Krishna were married, and how he got married, it was Veerya Shulkam. He has to control 7 bulls. That is why people who were protesting on Marina Beach said, see, Krishna played Jallikattu. So all these politicians said, Krishna played Jallikattu, so we will also play. Then you have to believe in Krishna. See, you have to believe. You cannot use Krishna selectively. Whenever you want, you say Krishna is not there. Then finally Krishna played Jallikattu, then believe in Krishna. At least their wives should listen. Now, here Krishna, after he applied that sandal paste on his chest, the remnants of it, he applied on Trivakras wherever there were hunches. In Kerala, there is a science called Varmam. They will use your finger positions to get your body ailments cured. So he did Varmam. What happened to her? Tavat Jagat Sundarim. The moment he did that quick fix treatment, she became Miss World, Jagat Sundarim. She applied for the pageant. Kubjam abja vilochanam pati punar drishtvangarage taya datte sadhu kilankaraga madadastasya mahantam hridi chittastham matha pratayitum gatrepi tasya sputam grinhan manjukarena tamudayanan tavat jagat sundarim. Then Krishna has to go forward. Here is where there is a very important question that we all have, that the poet Bhattadri answers. See, whenever we face problems in our life, it could be professional problems, financial woes, it could be health issues, it could be problems about not having children, it could be problems because of having children. Both. Till children are born, parents keep aspiring we should have children. The child is born, then they will repent on their decision. So that is how life works, right? So, people who are there in Bharatadesham will say we want to live in Frankfurt. When you come here, after you start washing vessels, you will feel you will get help there. So always the grass on the other side is always greener. People who are at home, they will feel, thank God we didn't go for the discourses. Annamalai called, but we quietly avoided. People who have come here may feel, thank God it is getting over tomorrow. Right? அவ்வளவுதான் இவருக்கு மூட்டை கட்டி அனுப்பணும் சார். முதல்ல இவரை இங்கேருந்து first Lufthansa, Lufthansa. We have to send him there. Now, life, when we face problems, the next question that we all come across, whether we are learned, not learned, experienced, not experienced, why me? Generally, when we face problems. See, even if you ask normal people, parents who have 4 daughters settled in different places, you ask that lady, who are your other sisters? Oh, they live there. Those 3 are good. Nanna irka. Ava 3 பேர் நன்னா இருக்கா. அப்படினா நான் நன்னா இல்லைன்னு அர்த்தம். We were born to the same parents, same yoni, same uterus, same fallopian tubes. 3 of them are happy, I am suffering. It's always comparison. Life is full of comparison. Whether we like it or not, whether we say it openly or not, that is the truth. We can hide it, we can mask it, but if we feel, no, I don't feel that way, then we are supposed to be in the temple, in the Alvar stage. See, if we are mundane, normal, primitive mortals, we will feel that way. Whenever we have problems, we have this question, why me? I remember, while I was studying, there used to be power cuts wherever I studied. First thing when the power goes, my mother will say, go check the next house. Have you done that? If in their house also there is power cut, we are happy. Appa, avathiliyum power illa. Enna oru sandosham parunga. That is human mentality. Right. 4 years back, we were going through this pandemic crisis. Everything was shut down, lockdown period. And we used to do abhishekam to the parcels that come. Outside the house, that parcels will come. Sahasra Serasa Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasra Padakanana Padni Kat Padni, there itself we'll do the surgery, we'll close. What all we did, just think back 3-4 years back, we were worried about our existence. Because that Anu, that virus was like Paramatma, it was Sarvavyapi. So generally when we face problems, the question is, why me? Bhattadri, who was a prolific poet, a great acharya, when he underwent rheumatoid arthritis, he too asked this question, why me? Why me? See, that is where we need to understand the concept of karma. Many people have doubts. Do you believe in this karma theory? Karma? Yes, we have to believe. I'll tell you why. If at the age of 40, I have diabetes, HbA1c is 10.5. Diabetologist congratulates me. Nobody has seen, sir, in the last 10 people have crossed 10. You have crossed 10.5. Congratulations. What do you eat to get 10.5? Do you eat only sugar? No, sir, I have 4 children. Then you'll get diabetes. Automatic tension. Now, at the age of 40, you have bad parameters. You can at least attribute it to something. I had maida. What is it? All-purpose flour. Maida, all-purpose flour. Dharma, artha, kama, moksham. All-purpose. All-purpose flour. Because you have maida, you'll get moksham also. So, all-purpose flour. Ghee. All our sweets. Fried in ghee, soaked in sugar. You can see Vaikuntham in it. Vaikuntha Drishyam. You can see. So, when we suffer from this diabetes, we can at least attribute. We can say I had tension, work tension, sir, pressure. Newly born children suffer. Then what do you say? Parents, if you check their history, no family history of diabetes. They are having that, what is that, Fitbit, 10,000 steps, 20,000 steps they do. Why should that child suffer? This is where karma comes into picture. If a newly born child has autism or anything, you cannot say that the child did this, child did that. So there is a baggage that the child carries. That is what our acharyas call it as karma. Otherwise, what is the reason? If you believe life is linear, you're born, you're living, you're dead, that's all. Then why should a newly born child suffer? You can give a medical reason. That is different. Oh, sir, 4 generations back, there was a gene, all that you can say. But why should that child suffer? Karma. The only answer. Whether you like it or not, that is the answer. We carry a huge baggage. See, you add 15 plus 14, units place, 5 plus 4, 9. Simple addition. 15 plus 19, 5 plus 9, 4, 1 carryover. There is always a carryover karma. But this question of why me, if you intuitively see, comes only when we suffer, not when we are joyful. When others suffer and we are happy, we never ask, why should I alone be happy? That time we enjoy. Only when we suffer, this why me comes. Bhattadri also had this why me. When everybody else around me doesn't have rheumatoid arthritis and isn't experiencing that excruciating pain, why me? To this, he finds a probable answer here. He says, when Krishna moved back from Vrindavanam to Mathura, every resident of Mathura welcomed Krishna on a golden platter. They all got out of their houses and said, Swagatam Krishna. We are very proud to have you, Krishna. We are very fortunate to have you amidst us, Krishna. You are Paramatma Krishna. We see you as Bhagavan Krishna. It seems amongst the loads of people who walked out of their houses to welcome Krishna, there was one person alone who didn't come out. He thought, Krishna, he's just another boy. To welcome this boy, who seems to be performing all magic that is quite common. Why should I come out of my house? With that arrogance, he refused to come out, it seems. Bhattadri says, I must have been that man. That is why out of that karma I am suffering today because of rheumatoid arthritis. Tavannischita vaibhavas tava vibho natyanta papajanaha yatkinchit udate sma shaktyanugunam tambula malyadikam grinhanna kusumadi kinchana tada marge nibaddhanjalihi Atishtam bataha yatodya vipulam artim vrajami prabho. So the reason is, don't keep asking this question, why me? It is not going to serve you any purpose. What answer will you get? Whether you like it or not. What is in Hindi? They say, kadva sach. Bitter truth. However bitter. Bitter, more bitter than bitter God. The truth is, our own karma is responsible for our own actions. Just because the parents do good, don't think, oh sir, I go behind for so many temples, Bhagavat sunta hu. Will my child suffer less? No, because that child, though born of you, it is your husband's sperm, your egg, everything is right. But that Jivatma has its own karma. As parents, you may be working towards the bright future of the child. You may want to give something very useful, you want your child to be very beneficial, good citizen. If the child is of Germany, you want the child to be a very good citizen of Germany. But it may not so happen that your aspirations are fulfilled. Beyond a certain point, you should develop that Vedanta Jnanam to accept it. Some people will never accept. I'm not able to digest. How come for me? You will never get an answer. Waste. Keep asking that question. It's a waste of time. Instead, read Bhagavatam, read Bhagavad Gita and accept that karma is true. That doesn't mean parents should stop working for the welfare of the child. You continue your duty. Karmanyeva adhikaraste. Your karma should not stop. But don't have any expectations on the fruits of that karma. I cook. Why I cook? Because I am the father to my daughter. I have a daughter. I cook for her. No sir, if I cook today, she will remember when I become 60. She will not take care of me. I know that. I am not doing because she is going to do. Because my karma is of a father, I have to do. That's all. When you have that detached attachment, your bhakti will be fulfilled and your concentration will be on Bhagavan. The moment you get overly attached, why do we listen to Mahabharatam? Because Dhritarashtra couldn't accept that he has absolutely non-resourceful children. He could not digest. How can I? His greediness, his passion was envisaged and found in his own children. So, that detached attachment, that is why they keep telling like the waters of the lotus leaf. It is there, but not there. Our presence in the family should be that way. You get overly attached. பாலூட்டி வளர்த்த கிளிலாம் வேஸ்ட். நான் வளர்த்த பச்சை கிளி நாளை வரும் கச்சேரிக்கு போயிடும் அது. Don't have that attachment. If you see, it may sound a bit harsh when I say this, but that is the truth. If we don't realize this, I listen to Gita, no use. How much ever Gita you listen to, it won't serve the purpose. Because the basic purpose of Gita is detachment. After listen to Gita, then what will you do with Gita? Nothing. மாமிக்கு பேர் கொடுக்க வேண்டியதுதான். பேத்தி பிறந்தா கீதான்னு பேர் கொடுத்த. எவ்வளோ கீதா கேட்டு பிறந்தது தெரியுமா? வேஸ்ட். See, giving the name Gita is of no purpose when you can't understand Gita. See, Gita itself is that detachment. Karmanyeva adhikaraste. You have rights only on your karma, not on the palam. Don't make it a formula. I do this, so my child will be like that. If you have that expectation, waste. Whatever we are is because of our own karma. Just contemplate on this night, tonight. Whatever we are, whatever sufferings, whatever it is because of us, then we will stop blaming others. The moment we are not able to do this, then we will always find my mother was very partial towards my sister. I couldn't take it because of that. I'm suffering today. We'll get rid of all this blaming parents, blaming our surroundings, because we always want to shift the blame on others. We never want to take that blame for once on ourselves, our own karma. My mother would have done this. Had she put me to that college, they will go back to the age of 18. In a few years, our Jivatma will leave. See, I generally say more than learning the art of living, learn the art of leaving. The Atma has to go. Never it should be born again. See, the cycle is so vicious. I don't know about the syllabus here in Bharatadesham. First kindergarten. What is that sheep? Baba, black sheep. Huh? That Baba. That it distributed its wool in 3 parts. We have to learn that. Jack and Jill. Then same thing. Going through that school education. Aurangzeb, Babur, Jahangir, Shah Jahan. Full sahasana. For reciting this itself, I will not get moksha. So, full that history. Answer in not less than 1,000 words. How Jahangir imprisoned his father. Waste question. He has imprisoned. What is the use of learning that? Learning that history. Then some geography, some unconnected differential calculus. That child is going to do home sciences. What is the use of learning differential calculus? Schrodinger's equation, packets of energy, they just go. This child will take colonial literature, doing through all this, and finally the child will realize investment banking is very good. CFA 3 levels. Get one charter 4 years later from another person who has got charter. Then after that marry someone. Then produce some. Then after that production is over, then you realize what all problems you have because of that production. Then you go through this. Then you will have grandchildren. Then you have to sit with them for that blah blah black sheep. Same thing. Wheels on the bus go round and round. Ticket. All that is over. Atma leaves the body. Then again it enters another mother. Same process again. That is why in the living world, when you decide for Bhagavatam and Gita, pray that this Jivatma should never ever enter a body again. Punarapi Jananam should not happen. Again the same process you have to repeat. That is why Acharyas were very worried. They would pray Krishna, Krishna, don't give me another birth. They will try their level best to coax on him, impress upon him. But Krishna says, for all of this, my dear Astikas, you will have to listen to my great celestial marriage to Rukmini at 6 a.m. tomorrow. Right? So, I know it is too early, that too in such a season, but that completes, that's the investiture ceremony for our Thanksgiving ceremony for our Saptaham. So tomorrow, see what I am speaking, you are all attending. The Vaidikas have been reciting 18,000 shlokas for the last all these days. 6-7 hours every day from morning, doing prasadam every day. It's a great tribute to all these acharyas who have come under the guidance of Sharmaji. And kudos to all the volunteers who have been working morning. I believe I was told that they all have to come at 3:30 and cook. See, morning. So the volunteers have been doing a yeoman service. What a team you have in Frankfurt. And of course, I told you at the start itself, the thought that, people have to experience bhakti is something very noble. And we have to thank Sri Annamalai and his family for being a part of this bhakti journey. So we will all get to witness Rukmini Parinayam. Of course, I told you Kuchelo Pakyanam, Santana Gopala Charitram, Satyabhama Parinayam, Jambavati Parinayam, Ushani Ruddhim. Lots of things tomorrow. Muchukundas, I've got loads to complete. What is that? And miles to go before I sleep. I've got loads. After I sleep, I have to come to complete that miles tomorrow. So I'm very thankful to all of you. Most of you are working professionals, parents. As such, you have Kishkindha Kandam at home. But you want to make it Sundara Kandam. And you're all coming here. So kudos to all the efforts that you all take in, that too in this cold season. Just one more day to go. Tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Kavita Arkika Simhaya Kalyana Gunashaline Srimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha Swasti Prajabhya Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Go Brahmanebhya Shubham Astu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kayena Vacha Manasendriyairva Buddhyatmana Va Prakriti Svabhavat Karomi Atyat Sakalam Parasmai Shriman Narayana-yeti Samarpayami Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Janaki Kanta Smaranam Gopika Jeevana Smaranam. Namaskaram, Swami.
Krishna 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 Krishna